one. Hey folks, welcome
There
back
we
to
go.
Multiverse with me, Beanie, and my amazing compadres. I'm pretty sure I've used that one before, but screw it, I'm not imaginative. Scarbeus.
Good evening.
Bazek. Thank you. Phil.
Hi.
I always wondered how you pronounced that last part.
How have you wondered? I've said it perfectly every time I've introduced him in any series ever. Just watch our Final Fantasy VI series on my channel.
Oh, speaking of which, we want you to collaborate with you on a Final Fantasy IX playthrough.
Of course, I'm more than happy with that. Like that, Final Fantasy VI is the best series I've enjoyed. Minus Dog Pod, that one was good. Still need to.
We'll figure it out.
Anyway, this series. So last time in Out of the Abyss, shit happened. The party, who had come across a group of Dwagar in the tunnels, stumbling across the Dwagar as they caught up to one of their dwarven slaves and slaughtered said slave. The party started the diplomatic route. However, tensions and Kamar were both raised, and a fight occurred. Blah 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 blah. All Dwagar were killed off, and the party carried on, eventually reaching a shoreline that led towards a large stone, what looks more like a wall than a gate. However, they quickly discovered this was the gate into the Dwagar city of Gracklster, the party's current destination for supplies, information, and other things that may help them in their other quests within the Underdark, as well as their quest to get out of the Underdark. The party, upon speaking with the city guard, were able to talk their way in under a few conditions. The main one of which being that Cobalt, the party's cleric, was not allowed to openly brandish a holy symbol, and even just by showing said holy symbol, his shield, to the guard, was told that it wasn't even allowed within the city, so he unfortunately was forced to throw it into the Dark Lake itself. However, with this all done, the party eventually made their way inside and were immediately beset upon by another member of the Dwagar Stone Guard. A Dwagar who strangely took them into a hushed conversation, seemingly not wanting to be overheard by his companions, in an attempt to bribe the party, or blackmail the party, more specifically, into giving them a weapon of interest. However, as tensions rose and Kamar rose again, some of the members of the party took the stand in between Kamar and the Dwagar in order to prevent a fight. However, one member particularly, decided that they'd rather get their distance, despite being warned otherwise by the Dwagar they were talking to. And upon stepping too far away and making the Dwagar feel there was too much risk, found the Dwagar shouting, "Stop, Drow spies! Capture them!" And that's where we left off. So,
can I just point out that if anyone dies here, this will be the second time that Laurie not being able to stand still has killed someone.
Wait, what happened the first time?
Well, the first time was in Phil's campaign when you killed Alex's character.
Oh, yeah, I was confused there as well.
Yeah, you lost me in that one.
I was thinking you were talking Ren Lennon.
Well, the reason why she got into such low health was down to Sean, but you know.
I'm not even in that game anymore.
You got her killed.
Exactly, Sean. It was all your fault. Where were you?
Damn it, I wasn't there.
Where were you when they needed you most?
Not that Sean, by the way. The other Sean who fireballed everybody. But you know.
I know.
Anyway, this campaign.
So,
We play too many games of D&D. It gets mixed up sometimes.
Set up the map for this.
And here's the battlefield.
Mike, are you connected?
I am.
You've been connected all evening, haven't you? I was wondering why I couldn't see you.
Crack and stir. I put that on. But there is the entire city that we're at. So
is thus.
check that out.
You are still
However,
within 30 feet.
we're just at the entrance.
You barely made an entrance to the city. The city itself is still a little distance away, defensively distant from the outer gates. Around you, you can see there is the dwarf, the Dwagar. Sorry, getting it wrong.
Of course,
Dwagar that you were talking to, as well as two other Dwagar in the same outfits and with the same emblems that I believe you've been. Not sure if I've been told that actually. So, and currently rushing up the corridor, there is a number of other Dwagar rushing towards the party upon hearing the cries of "capture them," and you can only assume that being that the gate to your side is closed, and the only open entrance leads to an entire city of these Dwagar, that there is probably a few more to come. Let's roll initiatives.
Oh boy.
Okie dokie, that didn't take long.
Wow.
Hey.
I mean, were you expecting
That's pretty good.
Not particularly.
Actually, that
Honestly,
works out because I need Mike to go before me anyway.
Watch this. Yep.
Oh, damn it, Mike! You just one job!
I can't roll initiative! When will you learn this? I'm fine at a lot of other rolls. I can't roll initiative on any character.
If it makes you feel any better, Flint has rolled a 0.
No,
he doesn't get to fight.
But don't worry, Stool has rolled a 19.
Oh, okay, well that's necessary.
Kick their butts.
All right, Anwar.
12.
Renlin.
23.
Kamar.
3.
Kobolds.
6.
And then the 2 types Dwagar.
Is there such a thing as holding your action in 5th edition?
Yes.
Yeah. You can ready in action.
Right. But you can't say I want to act later.
So this is actually a thing that's in D&D 5th rules. I'm not a big fan of. They basically got rid of the holding your action, delaying your turn features. I prefer the older versions from Pathfinder and 3.5, so I'm more than happy to say, as long as you say a clear trigger and a clear action, you're more than happy to hold your turn.
I mean, that's just readying in action.
It is, but it doesn't cost you a reaction. Whereas readying in action would. And if you want to, you can just full-on delay your turn, which just means that your turn gets moved in the initiative order. To another point, like you could say, I delay my turn until after Renland's gone, or I just delay my turn, and then you can speak up and say, I want to take my turn now, at the end of somebody else's turn. Sorry, I was just getting the stats open.
Get the feeling I'm going to be going first. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do, seeing as I don't want combat with the Dwagar. Not when there's an entire city of them.
Oh man, the one we're talking to actually has a name.
He does. Strangely enough, he isn't named NPC.
Gorglak.
Gorglak.
No, don't bring him into this.
Not named by me, so not in reference to, I'm afraid.
Apparently, yeah, you guys actually can't see this, but like, if you see in the bottom left now, there's like there's a picture of my character. Like he's gone now. There he is again.
No, see,
just to the side of that, usually you put the HP and the AC of the actual character.
This guy.
Like last session, people just started putting stuff in. Like apparently, mine now says like in HP it says party, and in AC it says killer. So apparently, I'm a party killer now.
Admittedly,
He's actually got HP and AC in there. Has anyone else actually messed around with this?
My favourite character that you've made.
I'm just apparently a party killer now. God damn it. So apparently this combat is entirely my fault now.
Crazy.
And then vanish!
Yeah, I had plans for him. If that campaign had kept up, I might actually, because I'm actually writing out that setting that I used for that campaign, I might end up putting Ublek in as one of the main NPCs. Because
when you say NPCs, do you mean one of the main villains?
I mean, it's a setting. Villains are
technically everyone can be a villain if you want to.
Can I be a villain?
Oh man, that's a good idea for my next World of Darkness vampire game. You guys end up becoming like the leaders of the city that you're in, and then you make new characters, and you have to dethrone your previous characters.
Anyway,
yes, do
Redman,
that.
you're the first to react. You can suddenly see all these Dwagar running in around you. It's very obvious that even if you think you can take the numbers now, more are coming. So
okay, so how have the Stone Guards reacted to this?
The Stone Guards, like all the other Dwagar that have just started moving in, and just a heads up, the ones that are moving in from the east side have literally just popped in out of thin air in the same method you've seen previously. All of them are starting to move in aggressively. Like you did hear the one you were talking to shout "capture them" as opposed to "kill them," if that makes a difference. But
well, I'm just wondering because I think before he actually shouted that, the stone guard were they were sort of grinning and looking at the situation, thinking, "Oh, I think I know what's going to happen next." But like my assumption here was that the guards actually know who this is and they actually know what's coming up next. So the fact that he's now shouting "capture them," how are the guards reacting? Are the guards thinking, "Oh wait, what? What's happening now? We weren't expecting this," or are they going, "Oh, this again"?
Isn't that guy the captain of the guard?
They are. Yeah, they are moving it. They seem to be taking a little bit of pleasure in the rush towards you. Like it doesn't seem like it took much motivation for them to rush at you guys from the look of them. That's all you can really get from a quick glance at the situation. If you actually want to study it deeper, you're welcome to roll an insight check.
An insight check to see exactly what their motivation is that?
To get a bit more of what's happening from the various NPCs and stuff in the surroundings, like what they're
I'll do that because that's basically what I'm wondering here.
Okay.
6. So I'm guessing I don't really get anything here.
No.
I will like hands up, like in a sort of surrender position. I'll say in undercommon, walking towards the guards, like I'm not going to fight. I'm no friends of those horrible drow. And I'm just gonna walk towards them.
Okay. In that case, it's now Stool who.
Wait, did he just sell us out?
No, do you mean sell us out?
He's no friends, the horrible drow.
I know, but but we just got called drow spy, and he's just like, no, I'm not friends with those assholes.
That's for fuck's sake.
I mean, there is multiple ways to take this. Admittedly, I'll give you that.
Could you stop putting words in my mouth that I did not say? I said I'm not friends of the drow, and I'm not I said I'm not going to fight.
It could be understood in different ways.
Yeah.
Stool is going to stand there and be stool-like.
Oh, some people, like, you say one thing, they go, "Oh, you mean this entirely different?" In fact, there's a meme of that came out recently. There's I actually forget what the original
towards Renman, seeing him rushing
thing was about, but there's a woman who was interviewing this man, and she basically just completely misinterpreted something he said.
Points to the ground, says, "Then throw your weapons on the ground and get to your knees." This one is gonna move over here. Nope, that's wrong.
Oh Jesus!
That's slightly wrong.
Jesus Christ!
Just that's fine.
That's still different.
He does that and shouts, "Weapons on the ground, on your knees, prisoner scum." And then this guy is also going to do this. All right, that's them.
This is an awkward situation.
Anwar.
They're surrounding us and just getting bigger.
You also had originally kind of stepped away from the group a little, but stopped when told to, and are a little isolated from the rest of the group, only a little bit. What are you doing?
I am going to. I don't have any weapon drawn at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to get down on my knees. Like, I don't know if that's something. Would I know if the whole getting down on your knees and putting your hands behind your head sort of thing would that?
Yeah, that would be. That's a. That is basically a global kind of.
I surrender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Your hands are there. You can't do anything with them.
I'm going to do that. Turn to Rendon and say, "God fucking damn it, Rendon."
5 is Turvey.
I'll just look at you with a very confused look.
There's nothing to be confused about.
Turvey is going to...
I don't understand.
He just pulls his crossbow out and throws it onto the ground towards the Dwagar and raises his own hands. He doesn't get to his knees, but it's more of a panic situation, like...
I mean, it's us versus a city. 6, I'm not fighting a city. Jesus Christ.
She's gonna
I'm also not a drow spy.
To see what other people do. Cobalt, you are currently kind of one hand on Kamar's shoulder, whilst Flint has a hand on the other shoulder, kind of preventing a situation from arising. Turns out you were stopping the wrong person.
Mm-hmm.
You're not saying anything about. You're muted, by the way, Phil.
Saying I actually can't see anything either, can I?
I mean, presumably you just saw the massive people appear.
From what light?
Oh, you say there's actually a surprising amount of light. It's not bright by any means, but it is. There's enough dim light in the area. It seems that the fires and other such of things within the city, like it's a red light that basically is covered the entire city.
Right.
Probably furnaces and other things such as you would guess.
Are you trying to say that this whole city is in fact a red light district?
Yes.
Not wrong.
Kinky.
Good.
More smelly, I think, than kinky.
Why not both?
No, you're into that.
What are you doing?
Where the shit is that's because it's a cantrip and that's not on that list.
I mean,
anymore.
There's a stool right here. Quite smelly.
The bad thing is he's a mushroom, so he probably is quite smelly.
I am going to touch myself.
Of course.
Of course, as one does when they're being swarmed by big, hairy dwarfs.
Yeah.
And cast guidance.
Cool.
And then I will kneel, I guess, and just say, no need for violence. We're not drow spies. We escaped as prisoners from them.
Okay, I'm gonna say, actually now, I should have been asking you guys to do this when you said stuff as well. So, Renlund, since you spoke to them directly, I'm going to ask you to do this as well. So you and Cobalt both need to roll me persuasion checks.
Oh dear. Oh yeah, 24. Didn't expect that. That's the max I can get, actually.
How about you, Phil?
Yeah, good job. I cast guidance. Do I have inspiration to throw on top of that?
I mean, if you've got an inspiration, you can do.
Sure do. And I sure will. It's something. 10.
Yeah.
Wait, why did you roll twice?
Because one was guidance.
Oh, right.
Sorry, just give me 2 seconds. I'm just getting up. Wait, why am I getting up? And what's sheet? That doesn't make sense.
You're having trouble getting it up, Sean.
I'm getting flints up, and for some reason I decided I need to get...
You're getting all up in my sheet.
Anyway, so... Renland's... The one that the Renland's going towards doesn't seem to be on high guard against him. However, with... maybe it's just you're not able to get the tone of voice right or something as you're speaking to them, Cobalt. Maybe it's the fact that you're holding back a raging Gamar that just kind of ruins your diplomacy, but something about what you say doesn't seem to...
How could that ruin diplomacy? I'm holding back the violent one.
Maybe they think you're encouraging me.
Maybe...
Yeah, go on.
Maybe it is just the sheer presence of such a violent being
I mean,
within their midst.
My turn is going to be quite predictable.
Speaking of which... Yeah. Violent being, it's your turn.
No one's going to be blown away by what I'm about to do. Right?
Mm-hmm. You're still worrying me.
I pull out the sword, pull out Dawnbringer, thrust it into the air, He-Man style, and set it on full blast.
Okay. The area is illuminated brightly as the daylight is spreads from the longsword that Kamar wields high.
Now, this is actually relevant for once. I need to find out what the range on that light is.
60 foot.
Okay.
And it's maxed. Although, I think...
I actually have the page for it here.
You do? Alright. Is it an action to get it like 30
No, that's just when you pull it, so it'd be my interaction.
Alright.
I think. Hang on, I will double check.
I'm glad you've got a stat page. I meant to send you one, but I completely forgot.
No, I've got the one that Matt sent me last week from the 5th Ed Tools. Which, for the record, I will just post in
the
chat. There you go.
For the record, that's probably not going to last much longer.
Yep.
Probably not. Surprised lost this one.
Well, it does keep changing if you've not been keeping track.
I have.
Yeah. This was actually, I think, by a different person who doesn't have all of the stuff on it.
Right.
I mean, still.
You can use an action to expand or reduce its radius of bright light and dim light by 5 feet each. So actually, I've been doing this wrong, basically. So
it's not what the other one said. Just said that you can just do it. So
tell you what, I'll grab the actual book. Right. So BRB.
Okay, it defaults to 15 foot. It defaults to 30 foot total, and then you can increase it basically with 10 foot total.
All right.
As an action.
I can hear again. Give me 2 seconds.
I mean, if you do want to do it that way, then yeah, sure.
It would make sense because it is quite a powerful ability. I know it doesn't seem like it, but just the sunlight
when you're in the Underdark,
yeah. Thing, yeah.
I mean, sunlight itself is what, like a 4th level spell?
Yeah. Can I just point out here?
Sunblade.
Oh no.
No, you're not allowed to.
According to this, your sword can actually speak.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah, it can. It speaks to him constantly.
To him.
No, it speaks to him telepathically constantly. I'm saying it can speak.
It very well might be able to. It speaks to him telepathically, though. It's a very shy weapon.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'm willing to accept that it.
It's more just all those times we were like, Kamal's crazy. He's talking to his sword. So it could actually have just started talking to us.
It could.
Yeah,
well, yeah, but it would rather just like make us think he's insane, which we kind of will follow along with because we know what he's like.
We'll fully admit that I hadn't realised it could speak out loud, and I preferred the idea of it speaking telepathically in my head. So maybe I just kind of made that part, but
this page is very different to the original one we were going from.
Well, I've got the Sunblade open, and I've got the stats if I need, like the specifics for if we need it. But since it's not relevant, the only thing that's relevant is upon drawing it and making it, which is a bonus action. Is it?
Presumably, drawing it would be a
Drawing it is item
action. Of course, Blade of Pure Radiance to spring into existence. So that's your bonus action to draw it. And then if you want to, you can spend an action to increase or decrease it by 5 feet at a time.
Wait, so it's a bonus action to draw the weapon?
Yeah, and then it gives you 15 foot of radius of sunlight.
No, it's your item action to draw the weapon. It's a bonus action to make the light spring out the house.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, so I'll do that as.
Well, the things you have to do to draw a weapon these days. No wonder I'm a caster.
You pull it out and it goes to about 20 feet radius.
Okay, yep.
It's 20 feet bright light and then 20 feet dim light.
Yes.
Okay, so look
is that all sunlight or is the dim light not count?
I think it just says all kinds of sunlight.
Yeah.
I'll double check.
Sorry, you'd think that we'd fully understand this blade by now, considering we've had it for so many sessions.
Yeah, but apparently we've been doing it wrong for that many sessions.
The light is sunlight, yeah.
Yeah, well, I knew that part.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's 20 foot and 20 foot, so 40 feet total of sunlight.
So just bring some measurements. So that's 20 foot. So it hits both of those.
If you just leave yourself there for a moment.
All the ones that are currently in combat and any that are going to be getting into melee combat are going to be in that range.
Can you set up like an AoE thing around a
if you look at the top of the not that moves with it, unfortunately.
Yeah, that would be very useful.
Template tools is the third one along next to fog.
I was about to say, but you can't actually link that to a character, I don't believe.
That would be incredibly useful considering how often that comes up.
It would. But yeah, you can just do that and you can just Control Z it to get rid of it and then draw a new one whenever you move your character if you wish to see it. I'll let you do that if you wish to, though. Are you doing any movement on your turn or anything else?
So, can I make it any... 40 foot's actually fine. So, is that my entire turn, though?
It'd be, yeah, it's... If now knowing that you've got 30 foot radius just from the base thing, you don't want to upgrade it anymore, you're welcome to take that back, since we now...
Well, it's 15 and 15, isn't it?
Yes, without using your action, it is.
So, if 15 is like... this tile here, is that actually affecting that entire guy?
Yeah, because it's then another 15 feet away from him as well.
Like but if it wasn't, if it was like 15 foot and that was the cutoff point,
I'd say as long as it's touching a square with him in it, yeah.
Okay, well, in that case, I will do that. I'll put the light up as high as it'll go, as high as I can do it, and then I say, stand down, foul creatures. Straight up, He-Manning, I have the power stance, making this light go as far as it can do, and attempting to threaten them to get them to stand down.
All right.
We mean no harm. Do not try our patience.
Oh dear.
Is that an intimidate action or just?
No, I'm going to say
I'm okay with saying no.
Persuasion at disadvantage.
Oh.
Persuasion?
I meant it to be threatening.
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, you can say...
You're kind of saying, please don't fight us, so yeah.
It's not just what you're saying, it's also the situation you're in. Like...
Okay.
It's the fact you said, we mean no harm.
Basically, right.
I mean, I'll gladly change my wording, because I meant to be threatening.
Well... If you... it's more okay, like my logic is that intimidation here isn't going to result in anything. Either way, you're in a city filled with them. That's not going to change anything. But persuasion might actually has a possibility of changing attitudes. That's why I'm giving it that disadvantage. It's basically you wouldn't get a roll for intimidate, but I'm giving you a roll, so it's a disadvantage. And it's for something.
16.
Yeah. All right. Surprisingly, they're more affected by your words than they are Kobolds.
Yeah, I'm surprisingly good at persuasion. Remember.
Yeah.
You've got charisma.
No, I don't. That's the thing.
It's only a plus 2. It's only a plus 2.
You've got a plus 2. I've got a -1.
Okay, that's fair. But still, I've never gotten lower than 15 on a persuasion roll, ever.
Back when clerics were charisma secondary. So, it's not their turn, so they don't reply yet. You'll have to wait and see. Come on to enemy 2. These guys. Now to remind myself which ones of these are actually hidden and which ones aren't. This guy.
Wait, could we not see any of these guys?
Some of them you can, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, you actually got invisible people on the map. I mean, no, I don't know that.
Well, it's just when he said enemy 2, and then there's Dwagar, Dwagar 5, and Dwagar 6. It's
I just realised I probably didn't think that through. Oh, don't worry, that's only a small number. That's actually smaller than the amount. This guy is going to go here. And I'm pretty sure... Yep. Suddenly, another Dwagar pops into existence as he grows to his large-sized form.
Ooh, he's a big boy.
He is a big boy. This guy is going to go and back up his companion watching over Renlin and Anwar. Sorry, this is going to take me a few minutes to actually get this guy sorted, by the way.
That's cool.
Just all the clicking I have to do. This one will go over... He's going to dash over to here. Boop. This one will dash to here. Oh, you can see him already. Let me know if I move one that you can see, by the way, and it just saves me going into the menu to check. This one will go here and use this size change.
Why not do yourself a favor and put like a halo around the invisible ones?
That would have been a really smart thing to do, Mike.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm not a smart man.
I mean, I don't know if it doesn't make the halo invisible, then
we can see the one
around the visible one.
Track that one. Cool. Oh, he was there. I don't think you can see the other 2 that I've got left to move. So
this one we can see.
Yeah.
But can we see the other 7 you've got there?
He actually doesn't do anything to reveal himself. And so, just forget I said anything.
Said what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good point, Mike.
You're crazy.
All right. So there's 2 there that actually I'm going to put a halo around them, like you said. That's a good idea. Boop. And...
Yeah, I was going to say, because I can see a lot of Dwagar now, and if some of those are supposed to still be invisible...
No. The ones that are still invisible are still invisible. You can't see those, don't worry.
So why have you put a...
You put a yellow square around Dwagar 6.
Yeah.
Oh, that just might be one that I actually originally had planned for you to see then. Any that you couldn't see... okay, that one is... Oh, that's because I chose the wrong one. You guys didn't see any of this, by the way. I'm a great DM and amazing at hiding things and keeping secrets.
I mean, I'm not really paying attention. Does that help?
Good. Best player. Wait. No.
Wait a minute.
Flint. He... Like Eldif, he's going to hold himself. Like, he's still holding his weapons and stuff. He's ready to fight if needs be, but it's quite clear he'd rather not be the first one to swing a weapon. 10 to... Oh, no, he was last.
Well, it is actually 10 to, nearly. 7 minutes to.
Back to the top, it's Renlin. What are you doing?
Well, I'm going to kneel down on the ground, as the guy suggested. I'm going to start putting my daggers down, and I'm going to talk to the guard who I spoke to before. I'll say, I'm surrendering. Unfortunately, you'll have to forgive these people who came with me. Some of them do not understand the concept of diplomacy. Because, I then sort of half turn to them and say, if you resist them, it suggests that that liar may actually be correct and that you are with the drow, which we are not. Put your weapons down.
Yeah, that is not happening.
And then that's my turn.
Okay.
It's just not happening.
It is then number 2, which is Stool. Stool actually... Ooh. Stool is going to back away in a panic, which in turn is going to cause the Dway guard that are actually in range of him to swing at him.
I mean, it's a tiny mushroom thing. I'm sure they don't really mind if it's just backing up. Come on.
I will say that they, being Underdark creatures, they know about myconids, so 2 of the 3 are going to hold off on this. However, one of them is going to just, out of malice as much as anything, just take a swing. Like, this is not following the orders, so this is a punishment in their eyes.
I mean, hands off my stool, please.
Fortunately, the swing is... a very half-hearted one. It does just go over Stool's head. For what it's worth, I realised I've not mentioned, these guys, all the ones on this picture, are wielding war picks. These guys all have short swords. All of ebony, black iron.
Okay, so a short sword presumably grows along with you, right?
Yes.
At that point, is it really still a short sword?
Yes.
In comparison to them, yes, it is. Trust me, you wouldn't want them to have a great sword when they grow.
I'm just saying, if this was Dark Souls logic, it would be a great sword at this point.
I mean,
it'd be a great sword for us. Yeah.
Actually, no. For you guys, it'd be a long sword by old D&D rules.
For reference, I put 4 daggers down on the floor in front of me. That's it.
Right.
I'm just imagining the stereotypical, just keep pulling knives out of your pocket.
The legless. Is that including the decorative one?
Yeah, it's 3 regular daggers and the drow plus 1 dagger.
Okay, yeah.
Wait, so you're putting a drow dagger down?
Well, if they ask about it, it's stolen from a drow I killed, so...
In before they don't ask about it and they just stab you.
They don't seem to pay much attention to the actual design of them. They're more just making sure you've put them down. And seeing that you've put them down, the guy does step up. And with your hand, you said you put your hands up behind your head, yeah?
Yeah.
He brings some manacles off his belt and goes to manacle your arms. Are you resisting?
Nope.
Okay. You feel a set of strong iron manacles buckled around your arms, held behind your head, in quite an awkward position, actually, considering how they were. You will be able to still bring your hands over your head to see your front, though, that said. But there is very little slack between them. You've got maybe 2 inches of chain to move your hands. And I will mark you off as... I'll give you a little thing to let me know that you are manacled. Cool.
Bye, Renlin. I won't be rescuing you.
Yeah, it's just... I don't know if you understand the diplomatic situation, the fact that we're in a city full of them, but okay. I mean,
obviously I do.
Mike's got to role play his character, so you know.
Obviously, I don't care.
This guy takes the manacles off his belt and chucks them to this
crushes someone with them,
and chucks them to this guy. Sorry, no, he will chuck them.
That's a good point. Do the manacles even fit anyone anymore? Because they've actually made themselves bigger. So all their stuff's got bigger.
He chucks them to this guy, and as soon as they leave his hand and fly through the air, they start reducing in size to the point where after a few seconds they are reduced to their normal size. It seems that the magic is linked to the individual, not necessarily the items. The Dwagar catches them and seems to be intent on manacling Cobalt, who had surrendered on his previous turn. Am I right? You'd put your hands up, hadn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. He then turns to the others and says, weapons down now, and is going to ready an attack for anybody doing any mischief. 3 to 4, that would be Anwar.
I I'm going to remain where I am, kneeled on the floor. I've not drawn any of my weapons because I don't want to draw any weapons in front of them. But I do have my hands on the back of my head, on my knees.
Okay. I feel like we've had this conversation before, but your gun is more of a rifle than a pistol, isn't it? Or is that just
yeah? It's pretty big.
So it's noticeable.
It's noticeable, but it's uncommon. And like I don't want to pull anything out at all. If they want to take it off me, I will not resist. But I don't want to pull any weapons out at the moment because, like, I don't want to give them any reasons to attack me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like that's the same thing with me. I've not dropped any of my weapons.
I would say you would know this in character. You would be able to pull your weapons and put them on the floor without being threatening about it. Like you could, for example, grab your gun, your firearm by the barrel, like grab things and just do things carefully. Like there's a difference between wielding something and stabbing people, Kamar, and between putting stuff on the ground. Like there's a reason they're asking you to put them on the ground. They're not going to say, put your weapons on the ground, and as soon as you take one out, stab you.
Oh, so, okay then, sure.
If that makes a difference, like don't.
I will put all of my weapons onto the ground. All.
Sorry.
6 of them.
Just don't let me change your actions necessarily if it's going against what you thought. But I just re-explain things in case you didn't understand. All 6 of them. So you throw your stuff on the ground and put your hands behind your head again, like you were. I'm assuming.
Yep.
Okay. Then it is 4 to 5. That'll be Turvey. Turvey, kind of seeing what's happening, stops panicking. Also puts his hands behind his head and goes onto his knees. Turvey to Eldith. Eldith is gonna take a step up, like standing. Not threateningly, but seeing that one of them took a swing at stool, she is just going to step up and stand between them. But she is still holding a weapon, but she's not actively threatening anybody with it. Again, she's holding herself to see what happens. 6 to 7. Cobalt, your turn.
Did I see the guy take a swing at stool?
You did. Yeah, you did.
I'll turn to the captain. And I'll just say, tell your men not to injure anyone, particularly the small Myconid. He poses no threat.
Anyone who doesn't do as they're told gets what they deserve.
The Myconid is only young. It doesn't understand what's going on. Don't punish it for that.
And this is a lesson, ain't it?
I'm still just stood there, hands in the air.
Okay. Have you thrown your weapons on the ground? I can't remember.
No, because like Matt, I would view that more as that would look hostile than anything.
Fair enough. Again, take into account what I said to Matt, but just for the sake of understanding, don't change your accounts on that if there's other reasons as well. So, anything else in your turn?
I mean, just generally try and convince them we're not dangerous. But
any particular way you're doing that?
Just sort of what I've already said, just like we're not drow spies, we mean no harm, kind of thing.
I will say make a persuasion check for all you've said this round. That's fair.
Is this at a minus?
No,
it's always at a minus.
It's not a disadvantage. Sorry.
Yeah.
How long does? Oh, that only works once. Shit. All right.
In regards to what you've just put in text there, Laurie, I realised today how infuriating this campaign is.
10.
It's designed as to kill players, but not for putting new characters in. Like, it's really bad, the story, for putting new characters in, but it's a very difficult campaign.
There is a method of role-playing and D&D and stuff where you play for as long as your character survives, and then you're just out.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the idea.
I don't like that.
You mean the
I hate that.
Well, bear in mind what kind of city we're in. I mean, it obviously depends what kind of character you make. There's a very easy way to actually get your character back in, like Anwar, for example. But like, depending how long this session is, if Mike's character does actually die and we get into the prison, well, his next character could just be in the prison. There you go.
That's entirely what I was meaning, Laurie. Like, the story is written for people who are escaping Velkenvelve. It's not written for other characters. Like, there is no other real base. Either way, it's not real. I was just doing that while we were waiting on Phil's roll.
10.
All right. no seeming change in attitude, but who knows? Cobalt to Kamar.
So, seeing everybody is laying down their arms and willingly being taken prisoner, I now do a little bit of a conversational type thing, where I say, "What are you fools doing? Stand and fight, or they'll have our hides."
I thought you meant something like you're gonna let your sword have a conversation with their abdomens.
Oh God, no!
Oh, I thought he meant he was going to have a conversation with his sword.
Or that. I could do that.
The rest of the party can respond to this if you want to.
Yeah, this is more what I was thinking. Rather than taking an action.
Yeah.
I just kind of look over my shoulder like, we're in their city.
I'm just gonna.
Yeah, we're like
Fighting
10
would
feet
be
in this.
pointless.
I'm just looking up to him. It's like, don't be a fool, Kamar.
I like the condescending note in your voice. Come on, don't be a fool.
Fighting is
Not
pointless.
this shit again.
I am sure there can be some arrangement made. And I look very pointedly at the guard when I say that.
The arrangement is he
With the
wants to
one-
steal my
The one
goddamn
that you're
sword.
originally speaking to.
Yeah, like, I'm sure some
I'm assuming.
arrangement can be made.
He completely blanks you and
rude.
says, there'll be an arrangement of putting you lot in there'll be an arrangement of putting you lot in cells.
You see what?
I will say.
What's
roll a
the
quick
advantage
insight,
here?
Cobalt?
Make a what, sorry?
Make a quick insight.
Insight. Oh boy, I have insight.
Oh shit, son.
Watch me still not roll a higher than 10.
Yeah, however.
Oh shit, 19.
Hey, there we go.
You very much get the impression that one, that deal is off the table.
Oh, that's fine.
Two, he is very much not wanting to show any sign of that around the other Dwagar. Like, he was quiet around when we was having the conversation with you originally, and he is just completely ignoring any insinuation at this point.
I'll just be like, yeah, I believe we were talking of such a thing before. Weapons, was it?
Okay.
He looks at you and mocks confusion.
I like where this is going, Phil.
Anyway, so does that affect your turn at all, Kamar?
Does he need to make a deception check against the other Dwagar?
Oh.
I actually imagine he would do if this is going where I think it does. But...
Yeah.
That's Beanie's goal.
He would do.
He would do if everyone wasn't on it.
Well, if the other Dwagar had any reason to think to insight him.
Well, can I insight him to get the same insight?
Yeah. Roll insight.
Should really write down this. Oh boy, +2. 18.
Yeah, you get the same information I just gave Phil. He is completely blanking the subject, and any hint towards it. It doesn't look like he's going to be willing to talk about it or offer any suggestion that he was ever, that he was ever talking about that kind of thing. And the other Dwagar, looking around and looking at the Dwagar, they look like they're not going to question him when the people that are throwing those accusations forward are lesser races. It's like, why need to? Obviously, it's obvious who the liar here is. It's just the Drow spies trying to get out of trouble.
Okay.
What I will say as well, with what everybody else has said, at this point it's not their turns, but Eldith and Flint are making actions as if to put their weapons down. On their next turns, they're going to be surrendering as well. And this is obvious to anybody that can see them.
Because the thing is, Kamar would not want to be imprisoned again. At all. And his very vow to his god makes it so I can't back down from a fight.
Now,
I'm pretty certain this is where I die.
I think we talked about this before, because that vow is literally going to get you killed in this camp. That vow should have got you killed in the first chapter of this campaign.
Yes, it should have.
I think I said this to you then. I'll go by it now, if not then. That vow is: don't back down from a fight that you could gain from. taking down a few Dwagar in a city of Dwagar isn't going to gain anything for your cause. It's just going to mean that another good warrior hits the grave. Like that should be how you take the terms of the battle. Like once you're in an actual fight that there's a chance for you winning or something, and you can actually gain from, then you'd lose faith if you ran from that.
I mean, I'd argue that we could have won this fight if these people didn't just kneel down and choose death.
Well, you do. Well, you can guess that there's more coming. Bear in mind.
I know.
City Dwagar.
Yeah, this has never been an issue in my mind. Like, yeah, of course there's more. There's always more until we exterminate the lesser races.
Okay, fair enough. Never mind. I'm going to stop talking now.
Kamar is a problem.
Noticing how everybody has given up, I, under my breath, I curse my would-be companions about their cowardice. And the fact that the untrustworthy demon worshipper has unsurprisingly sold us out, and how it is typical. And then I say, I will not be shackled, but make no aggressive actions, and that'll be my turn.
Okay. Considering that
is your sword still glowing very bright?
Yes,
it is. Yeah. Considering that everybody is surrendered at this point, if you guys are out, I'm going to move it out of combat for now. We can always go back in if shit goes to fan.
Can I, as a token gesture, dim my light by 5 foot?
You dim your light; it's still over literally all of the Dwagar that are around you.
I'm not an idiot.
In reply to what you said, the Dwagar that you had originally been talking to, shouts back, "You'll do what the fuck we you'll do what the fuck we tell you to. Hands behind your head and weapons on the ground.
Yeah, it's not
Turn
happening.
that damn light off."
The temptation to go, "Oh, I'm sorry, is this annoying you?" This is tough.
I'll just
will say that
yes, of course, because you wish for the magical weapon yourself, don't you?
Yeah.
He just completely ignores you. And the
I'm
other
actually going to turn to the other one and go, so what is it you would wish to be bribed with? Your captain here wants magical weapons.
That Dwagar looks to you and says, "Shut up, scum!" No, and spits towards you and says, "No, sorry, my English is bad today. No Dwagar would ever be so corrupt to contemplate bribes. Don't think that your fancy words are going to get you anything here. We all know you for the drow spy scum you are."
Phil, for what it's worth, I think technically it's blackmail.
It is blackmail.
I mean, blackmail and bribery.
Basically the same thing. Blackmail just
sounds in this
nastier.
particular situation, pretty much the same.
Okay. In that case, Kamar then shouts.
Well, sorry, just stop you before you do that.
Okay.
Whilst all this was happening, the Dwagar were moving around and starting to shackle people. So I'll say that Eldif, Turvey, Flint, and Cobalt, and Anwar are like, everybody who was willing to be shackled is now shackled, with the exception of Stool and Kamar. Stool because you can't really get into his arms.
What are you shackled?
And Kamar because you were actively resist. Well, you were saying that you were going to resist, so none of them have actually. They're indicating they're going to, but they're not going in on it yet because they know that you're going to be the trouble if anybody is. So they're getting rid of all other possible sources instead. Now do what you was going to do. Sorry, just
right. He talks about how we were lesser creatures and such. So I said.
Sure did.
So I then shout at him, "You call us the lesser creatures where your blackguard leader dares to try and thieve and steal from us? Travelers who are guests in your city."
Guys.
Okay, I'm going to give you a persuasion check here at advantage due to Cobalt's assistance in speaking previously. This is like the one persuasion check you're getting for this because
can I just subtly poke him in the leg?
You're manacles, so there's not really a subtlety about it. There's a if you want to do that.
When you say poke,
No.
you mean poke me in the leg.
Yeah, but no, not.
What? Is this
I
like
assumed I was shackled behind the back, but
no, your arms are shackled in your front.
then no, I probably won't because I'd have to turn and do it, which would perhaps not be a good idea.
Also, for what it's worth, they've started taking your weapon, like unsheathing your weapons and taking them off you, Cobalt. Same with the others that still have weapons on
That's
them.
fine. I mean, that's for what it's worth. That's a mace.
A mace, isn't it? Just for you.
Did you say
a mace and a light
persuasion?
crossbow?
Did you say persuasion or persuasion at advantage?
Persuasion.
Just persuasion. I got 16 then.
All right. Sorry, it's a persuasion advantage.
Yeah, at advantage, right?
Yeah.
22. Ooh, nat 20.
All right.
Very nice.
That's like that. That was the nat 20 was the only thing I was going to do anything on. You got
There
it.
it is.
Now I have to figure out
Diplomacy.
the.
The diplomatic
it.
angry paladin.
Just turn around and
it.
high five you in shackles.
Yeah, gonk. Ow! Dude, why?
Dwagar kind of looks at you for a second and then looks up and says, Captain Gorglak, what's he talking about? Other Dwagar, the one you were talking to originally, says, don't listen to the scum. He's just making up stories to try and keep out of the hold.
The lion's face crests his brow.
There's a few of them mentioned it now. I have. He kind of turns around to the other ones and says, I mean, the captain always does wanna
mutiny.
Captain, I think we're gonna take him to the hold, but we're gonna talk to Captain Blackskull while we're there, sir. You'll do no such thing. We're just gonna talk to Captain Blackskull.
Yeah. Talk to your other captain. That's a good plan. This one shows initiative.
The original does look a bit like haughty and red-faced, which is surprising for a grey-skinned creature. But the other Dwagar are kind of like looking around and kind of nodding as if something is kind of making sense to them. Like they're just kind of putting pieces together, and you guys are just kind of giving them the last piece. And it is one of them. They don't manacle him, but one of them does move behind him, and he is being escorted with you guys as well now. Fucking nat 20. However,
on seeing this, I will lower the light of my sword once again to its minimum.
Its minimum is 5 foot to 10 foot, effectively.
So, yeah,
that's still painful for them. And they and the one that had just accused his captain now says to you, "You're still getting manacled. You're still going to the hold. Weapon on the floor."
And that's still not happening. It's just
right.
not.
I turn to Kamara and just say, and the new captain acting.
For what it's worth, it's this guy, the one that is still in large size.
Right.
As is the.
And I'll just say,
as well. He's not.
Would it be suffice to allow him to at least keep it on his being if he was manacled and stopped the light?
No, it wouldn't. Weapon on the floor. At which point, the Dwagar all around Kamar, and there is multiple Dwagar, like most of the Dwagar are now kind of gathering around Kamar, seeing the rest of you as kind of harmless and manacled. They start taking out the weapons, and they are actually going to start they are getting ready to start pummeling you down. Like they're not going with the sharp ends of these war picks or the short swords. They're basically just getting ready to pummel you with the handles. Basically,
Question.
if you're not going to.
Have they started leading some of us off now?
No, they've just kind of clustered more towards the center around Kamar to the point where they've actually kind of pushed Cobalt and Flint back so that they can just get in and basically. It is a mosh pit with Kamar in the middle right now.
Kamar, just
oh
dear.
dear.
They say, I'm sure once this all gets sorted, they will allow you to have your sword back.
Okay, I will give you a persuasion roll on me to see if I even think about this.
Probably not.
Because, yeah, that's... wow, I'm pretty surrounded.
Yeah, you are. Also, just to make sure there's no runners, 2 more that were there the whole time. Pop
Yeah,
into
that's
view.
cool.
just kind of hanging back and watching Ren and Anwar, who are a bit further back.
I mean, at this point, I feel like we should be able to make perception checks to see them. Because it's like, okay, they clearly do an invisible thing. How
They
am I
do.
not always
It's more of a
looking?
hearing thing, though.
However, they're not stealthy creatures. They're loud. They are noisy. They wear heavy armor. However, their trick of it is that they go around in groups, and there's always a few that are visible. And it's like, oh, I can hear heavy noise. It's probably those guys. Like, it's
Anyway,
hard.
I'm
to
not
tell.
doing it right. Not even trying to do that right now.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. So you rolled an 11.
11.
In that case, I will
Actually,
say.
I'll tell you what. I really want this to happen, so let's throw in an inspiration. Well,
I was
I'll
going
say
to say it was
roll
above and below 10 is what I was going for.
Roll
Yeah, but I
a
didn't know that.
wisdom. Oh,
Yeah, I know.
yeah, it works.
so like, and to be fair, it is something I would really want you to do. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want, as much as I dislike Kamar, I don't want to see him getting beaten up unnecessarily.
But you don't want to see him getting beaten up, but just not unnecessarily, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Like, if he's just gonna straight up start shit for no reason, I'm not gonna stop them. Like, he's been given plenty of chances to not get beaten up.
Okay. So who do I perceive is in charge of this situation now that he's
Now
that
it's
guy's been shut down?
this guy.
Okay. In that case, the words have reached me, and I will turn around to face him. I will pull my shield off my back, drop it to the floor in front of him. This is without getting on the ground yet.
Mm-hmm.
I then, without letting go of Dawnbringer, I pull out the rest of my equipment, which I've never referenced before. So my hand crossbow and my dagger and my flail. I'll drop those to the floor one at a time, very indignantly in front of him. And then, before I hand over Dawnbringer, I will lean into him and say, I'll be needing this back. You'd best be careful with it.
He just kind of... He just gives you a snarl, kind of holds out his hand.
Yep. I place it in his hand and, extinguish the light as I do.
Even as you do this, you can hear the voice in your head. No. And as you let go of the grip, it just stops. All the telepathic link you have, it just cuts out like mid-sentence, no. You just can't hear anymore. And there's you've not been like this entire time, even when you weren't talking with her, Dawnbringer was always humming or making some sort of noise, even if it was just to comfort herself. And this is... You've not heard silence in a long time, and it's not a joyful...
Now I can sleep.
Oh, thank the gods! That was the reason I was exhausted.
Did you just
Never mind, you keep it.
Did you just commit child abandonment?
I think so.
Because
Is it really a child if it's actually a sword?
I think if the police take it away from you, then it's usually
So
indicative of something
CPS
worse
is
than
what we're saying.
social services just took your child from you, and you couldn't be happier.
I'm
Why do
very
you think they
upset.
took it away from him?
I am quite upset.
The Dwagar looks at the hilt, kind of spits actually on it, seeing the
I punch him in the face.
Oh my god, it was alright just for that one moment. It's like, we've just sorted it out. And then,
I'll tell you what, for efficiency here, let's...
he's got a roll for it, hasn't he?
Because things are going to happen. It's going to require a lot of rolls. So, if you'll permit me, I'm going to be a descriptive DM and say, so seeing the Dwagar spit on the hilt, Kamar is just overcome with rage and fist goes flying, smacks into the side of the Dwagar's face, a ringing sound as it hits the helmet, and which goes flying off the Dwagar's head. He's kind of knocked to a knee. All the other Dwagar around you immediately just pounce on you, pummeling you with the pommels of the weapons.
You could say they're pummeling me.
And it takes all but a few seconds before Kamar is laying unconscious on the floor.
Yeah, that's fair.
At which point, they all just kind of start moving around. 3 of them between you, one on each arm, one just with your legs over shoulder, all kind of pick you up and start walking you. The rest of them start picking up the weapons and such that have been dropped around. It does look like, for what it's worth, they're trying to keep an order to them. Like, they are keeping them together. They're not sheathing them with like their own weapons or anything like that. They are keeping hold of them. And the one that had spat on the hilt just kind of steps back to his feet, looks at Kamar on the floor, spits at Kamar, and then just kind of shoves the blade hilt into another Dwagar, kind of forcing him to take it as he then walks past. Like,
I thought you meant like he stabbed him with it.
No. More
like,
of a,
Jesus.
No, what's probably happened is he probably picked it up and now it's talking to him and he's like, oh, fuck this, someone else take it.
No!
Wait,
you have been chosen as the chosen of Palor. No!
You did say the sword was cursed, right?
I'm not a heretic.
It was definitely cursed, right?
I don't know.
But then they start to lead you through the city. As you travel, you do get a lot of strange stares and stuff as you meet people. However,
I mean, I don't.
I wave.
I mean, I might do.
I mean,
but
you get stares, you don't know about it.
Yeah.
For those of you that are conscious, however, as you move through the what seems to be a, I guess you could consider it a tourist or a foreign district of the Dwagar city. It seems to be a fair amount of non-Dwagar races. There's still majority Dwagar, but there's a lot of non-Dwagar in this area. However, as you go through it, if I can actually find the text, here we go. A wave of heat slams against you as an acrid smoke rises to choke the air out of your lungs. The dark lake spreads out beyond a jumble of buildings and streets, reflecting the lights of countless fires burning across the city within hollowed-out columns and stalagmites. Though the streets are crowded, you move easily within the surging throng of buyers, merchants, and slaves. They all literally just move out of the way. Seeing this contingent of Dwagar like moving through, nobody gets in the way. Like, it is, oh shit, just, stand back, make sure there's no issues.
It's the guards, don't mess.
Yeah. You aren't the only outsiders here, as you spy drow, Svirfneblin, Darrow, orcs, and other races in the crowds. The shouting of people blends to the sound of distant hammering to create a constant, distracting din. For what it's worth, you can all taste the smoke in the air. This is...
I can't.
This is making it kind of hard to breathe for the... Cobalt, do you breathe?
Nope.
We've had it, you don't. So for those of you that do actually breathe, this is awkward. You've never been in a room this badly ventilated, effectively, is the best way to put it. You can breathe, you're fine for now, but you can tell that if you're here for a long amount of time, those of you at least with any sort of anatomical or medical knowledge know that you're probably going to get some issues. And Cobalt, you can kind of tell this, not from your own experience of breathing it in, but from looking around and seeing like people are starting to cough and and it is it's noticeable. The Dwagar lead you all the way through the city, I believe. If I zoom out, we can. They lead you along these roads. If you zoom out, I'm kind of showing the arrows.
Yeah. I'm doing that now.
Actually, no, sorry. They lead you up to another gateway, which they bang a hammer on and then move through. And this is where you start to notice all the other non-Dwagar races as they take you along the shoreline of the Dark Lake.
Yeah.
I attempt to make small talk with one of our captors.
I'll finish this and then we'll get to that. As they take you through, the route is effectively just all the way over to this place here, this building here. As you were walking, Cobalt, what are you saying?
Being as we're going past the Dark Lake, I'll just kind of very briefly look, immediately turn away from it because no. And then I'll just go, so, see anything unusual on the lake recently?
Roll a persuasion check.
Also, on the way over there, I'm just going to keep a very good eye out for just the location, just sort of taking in the surroundings as I'm expecting.
Christ.
We're going to be getting out of here soon eventually, and we're going to need to do a bit of walking around, so
Just
have a good look
Can I
around.
just, roll anything higher than a 10?
You rolled an 11 right a moment ago. And then you rolled a 1 with all of your inspiration dice.
Yeah.
The guy you're talking to just looks at you, kind of raises an eyebrow, then turns to another of the Dwagar and says, "What's one of Cairngorm's doing out here anyway?" The other one just kind of shrugs and says, maybe he got lost. Maybe he just decided the city wasn't a place for him. Either way, got his thoughts right and came back, didn't he? Wonder how long he'll stay there. Wonder how long he'll be kept here, though, or if he'll stink up the hold for long, or if he'll get sent back to the camps.
One of what's ones? Sorry.
Are you actually asking that, or is you?
No, I'm asking you.
You heard him say Ken Gorms.
Ken Gorms.
Ken Gorms. I'll tell you what. I'll write in there.
Yeah, right in the chat.
Ken Gorms.
By the way, I'm calling it. I could be completely wrong, but I'm guessing the only reason we get out of here is because the Demogorgon attacks. That's what I'm calling for the future. I'm happy to be wrong if that's the case.
What you see as you go through the area, like the city itself, is built mostly out of the. I'm gonna get this up again because it's apt.
Oh my.
Enforced current map. All right. You see buildings built into the stalagmites and the stalactites. As well as that, there's loads of just block stone buildings strewn about the place. Everything is built with purpose here. There is no decoration, nothing. There's no. You wouldn't be able to tell what things were if it wasn't for the fact that they're all signposted, very exact, very. Like after looking at a few buildings, you know exactly where to look on each building. You can say, okay, that's a blacksmith, that's a carpenter's, that's a store. You know, that kind of logic. The one kind of exception to all these stone buildings and such is a single building that looks almost like a log cabin, although the logs are greenish grey, obviously made from some sort of giant fungal stalk.
Looks cool. It's your dad.
What seems to be a tavern from the way that it's signposted, basically actually out on a little island and with a rope bridge connecting it to the city itself. As well as this, there's a lot of like market stalls and such, and it seems like a lot of caravans from other places in the Underdark have actually come here to sell goods and make trade. You can see a lot of...
It's a tavern, is it?
You're muted for what it's worth, Laurie.
There's a tavern, is it?
The one that is the unique building, yes, it looks like a tavern from the way it's signposted. Plenty of marketplace stalls, lots of individuals of many different races. You see a few drow, you see Svirfneblin, orcs, Darrow, and other stuff, like I said in the description previously. Is anybody else doing anything as you're walking?
Am I conscious yet?
No.
Then if Cobalt is making small talk, I make snore.
I'm just going to label these things, seeing as we now know what
Can
some of them
I
are.
make any sort of check on Caregorm?
So.
No, it's not something you've heard before.
I've heard of. Okay, that's fine. I'll
say, take this opportunity.
Who's this Caregorm fellow?
Make another persuasion check. Sorry, I'm being.
This is
I'm being a dick with these because this is the Dwagar.
Yay! 16.
Note to self: min-max persuasion in the next game.
I love charisma characters, so please do.
Yeah, because we're going to be eventually getting out of here. I hope so. Finding a way around is going to be important.
16.
I don't want to be like, I want to go to this kind of place. It's like, yeah, we don't know where it is. Good luck finding it. It's like, well, we're going through the outside area.
Where's the fun in that? And all bards are
I'm guessing,
shit
like,
bards.
if you notice this sort of top area here, like north of these walls here, I think that's where all the other races are going.
Surly individuals, just naturally, and they've already got a very hostile attitude towards the party. He just kind of looks at you and says, "Shut up and keep walking."
Rude.
I wish only to get to know you. Can we not get along?
Another Dwagar that's moving near you just I'll smack you on the back of the head and says, "You heard him."
God, this rudeness is a real punch in the face.
Actually, that was the head, not the face. Ah, the back of my face.
Probably not. My face is made of stone.
Well, he's not. He's actually no. He punches you with a metal gauntleted hand. He doesn't.
Okay.
Clank.
Just hear a clang.
I thought we told you to take off your armor. I can't.
I'll just kind of sigh and just be like, oh well.
Well, several minutes pass, and you are escorted to this building. This is a just double check I'm getting this right. Excuse me.
Just while he's talking.
Also, just because I don't know if he was talking to his chat, Laurie, you're still muted.
Yeah, I know. I'm actually just talking to my chat.
Yeah. You're taken to a large stalagmite. One of the largest that you've seen in this area. And inside it seems there is carved quite a magnificent building. However, the first room you go into seems to be a kind of checkpoint of sorts, and it looks like there is again, it's not decorated, but it is well made. Like there's not although it's not decorated, there is a certain amount of this is impressive just in how well made it is kind of thing. Doorway. However, you are then, before you get to that doorway, you're then kind of steered to the left towards a much lesser impressive door, which you then follow through and find yourselves heading downwards into a set of dungeons. You were all dumped unceremoniously into cells. Specifically, Eldith and Flint are thrown into a cell together. Anwar, Turvey, and Stool are all thrown into a cell together. And Kamar, Cobalt, and Renlin are all thrown into... Cobalt and Kamar are thrown into one cell, and Renlin, you are thrown into a cell, seemingly on your own.
It's a really good idea you threw Renlin into a different cell. I'm just saying that.
However...
Kamar is not pleased with him.
As you kind of brush the dust off you and get up off the floor, Renlin, you do notice there is another occupant in your cell. And after a few seconds of double checking yourself, you recognize this individual. He's scarred and beaten as if he's been tortured quite profusely.
Oh dear.
But it's Sarith, the drow that travelled with you.
And man, I really wish I was in that cell now.
Let's take a break, shall we?
Break time! Oh, we get dumped with the drow. Fuck's sake.
Oh, that's the party cell. I want to be in that cell.
This is my replacement for a caffeine at the moment.
We're
Are you
back.
not having caffeine?
I've not had
quit energy
Monster or
drinks.
Alertness or anything like that since Thursday last week.
Wow.
He quit energy drinks. It's like him of all
I would
people,
argue
the guys.
it's an energy drink.
Yeah, I said this.
Caffeine-free energy drinks.
Okay.
I'll honestly say, if you can keep it up, Matt, I have a huge amount of respect for you. I know how much of that you drank, and best up towards you, yeah.
Yeah, I think I was spending something like between £10-15 a week on energy drinks.
Oof.
I honestly would have actually guessed that was less than you did, because you usually came home with 5 cans a night.
Yeah, but usually those would last me a couple of days. I'd be drinking about 1 or 2 a day.
Fair. That's fair.
Sometimes more on the weekends. So yeah, cutting down on that and things like that. I'm hoping to save a little bit of money, and also I've actually been more awake than usual.
Yeah, it'll do that to you. Caffeine is actually more.
Caffeine gives you a temporary boost, but wears you out in the long run, which is why when you get off of a caffeine addiction, you just have more energy. That's why it's a good idea to detox from caffeine every couple of weeks.
Oh, but that's just the worst.
It absolutely is the worst.
I'm still suffering massive withdrawal symptoms.
Oh
like,
yeah,
headaches for just days afterwards. It's just
yep.
I tried to give up coffee once, and no, I think I kept it up for a month maybe.
It's worse when you have shit to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, the actual campaign.
Yeah.
So
that's an important
coffee is a campaign, goddammit.
It really is. It's the deadliest campaign there is.
We need to make that a campaign now. Just coffee smugglers.
Quitting coffee.
Coffee smug.
That'd be the weirdest.
That's your darkness game, Mike. Coffee smug.
Ran by a coffee beanie.
Coffee smugglers during some sort of coffee prohibition.
I don't think they do an Aussie and Drix pen and paper system yet, unfortunately.
Oh, that was great.
That was great.
I don't know what that is.
It was an old Cartoon Network show about a white blood cell and a pill that went around a boy's body, just killing illnesses.
Oh shit, I remember that.
It was amazing.
There are cops.
I didn't like it, but yeah.
I loved it. It was absolutely.
I remember it.
Anyway, sorry. Campaign for the third time.
Yes.
Little things get big.
Come on, third time is a charm. Let's do this. Come on.
All right. So the cells you've been thrown into, they
Huh?
are.
I do
very
remember it.
much the basics.
Are they white blood cells?
They are these
red.
cells are very much the basics. There is a single, no matter how many people are in there, there is a single mattress seemingly made out of some strange grass that's been very basically woven together, and there is a single chamber pot within each of these cells. That's it. That's all the furnishing there is.
Conveniently, I need none of that.
For what it's worth, it takes you another half an hour or so to come to consciousness.
Oh, stuff's going to happen between now and then.
So take that into account, but upon entering the cells, is anybody doing anything?
Oh god, yes.
Was I thrown on the bed?
How much of
No, you were just literally just thrown in. You're currently lying, your feet basically a foot away from the door.
I would have thrown on the bed.
Face first on the floor, drool coming out.
Are we still manacled? Or did they take them off before shoving us in the cell?
No, you're still manacled.
Did they take off our...
attempted to put him on the bed.
Ironically, Kamar, the only one that's not manacled.
I would put him on the...
Did they take our backpacks off us?
Yeah, have they taken anything else other than our weapons?
All your backpacks have been taken off you, as well as anybody who had a overly pocketed coat. That has been taken as well. But armor and everything that you were kind of wearing is still on you.
Anything we had hidden under our garments is actually still there?
Yes, it is.
Okay, then.
However, what did you have hidden?
A very small vial. Although my book of shadows would have been taken though, because that's actually.
That'd be easy. Yeah.
That would have been taken off, and that's a fair size. Yeah.
I will say roll a stealth check, Laurie.
Out of interest, how big are these tools?
Not big.
Not big. It's basically just
God, I hope I get
maybe
this.
a couple of inches long.
17.
17. I will say you could keep thieves tools on you if you had actively
don't have thieves tools.
Attempt to hide them, Matt.
Yeah, that's what I was asking about myself.
Fortunately, the Dwagar that throws you in your cell, Renan, is not very perceptive. And yeah, nothing really comes of Matt, did you say you are trying to keep anything on you? This would have been.
Yeah, I don't.
Would you have hidden it before the part? Like this isn't.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Considering it's thief tools, it's like I'm thinking it probably come under the same sort of thing as like tinkering and stuff like that. So I don't know if I would have keeping it.
I would imagine that generally, like,
typically,
bearing in mind lock picking and stuff is still illegal. Like,
well, I would say that thieves' tools are considered illicit items. That said, I kind of picture like Anwar's thieves' tools would be a part of his kind of tinkering toolkit because you could also use the delicate instruments as part of the tinkering. So
probably
it'd also be a possibility that they kind of just kept with the other equipment.
Yeah, most likely.
So it's your judgment call, but I'll that'd be what I'd assume.
Did they take my holy symbol, which was, for the records, a pendant style thing, like a necklace?
It's beneath your armor, isn't it?
Yes.
Apparently, again with a natural 3, the Dwagar who threw you in the cell didn't notice it. Although there was 3 of them, so we'll roll that advantage. That's a natural 5. Never mind, none of them noticed it.
Well, that's just not a wise choice.
Curiosity, are there actually any Dwagar stationed outside of these cells?
There is a single. There is a Dwagar that is patrolling the corridor. However, roll me a perception check.
Oh, okay. Well,
this drow who's in here with me. What's his reaction as soon as I go in?
I'll get to that in a second.
I'll be doing this check as soon as I wake up.
+4. 22.
Yes, you very much notice that.
There's actually 7 of them.
The noise being made is more than just one guard. There is obviously invisible Dwagar here, and that's just the ones that are moving. You don't know. You can't guess at how many might just be stood there still. Like if they're stood there still, you would not notice them.
There's actually one right behind me.
So, Laurie.
I'm not a guard.
Upon being thrown in your cell, you find yourself kind of double guessing yourself a little and realise, yeah, that's Sarith kind of curled up, almost in the fetal position, like back against a wall, looking at you, with eyes as surprised to see you as you are to see him. Am I seeing things? Are you?
Hey,
Renlin?
Hey.
What? What? What are you doing here?
Do they do good like food and drink here? Have they been feeding you? Because I don't know how long we're going to be staying here.
I've not eaten anything in 3 days.
Here.
I've been questioning. What?
Here, take this, and then I'm going to hand him the vial.
This tiny vial.
Mm-hmm.
He looks at it. What? Okay, so what? For my sake, what is this?
Your sake, this is a vial of drow poison that I stole quite a while ago.
Fucking Christ!
Hey, we're in a prison with apparently a drow who knows who we are.
A vial of drow poison.
Yeah,
he's gonna notice.
Well, it's just a regular vial. Like, unless he knows what it is.
He is a drow.
Yes, but it is just a bland vial.
He looks at it, looks at you, and there's a slight moment of calm where you can't really guess what he's going to do. And then he jumps to his feet, drops the vial to the floor, it shatters, and he rushes to the bars and says, No, you can't do this to me! I know it's a trick! Stop trying to do this to me! And he's screaming out through the bars.
For the record, he would be dead right now if I was sharing a cell with him. Like, this is just where he dies.
Well, apparently he was going to be unconscious for a bit.
Would this be why he dies?
Wait, are you talking about...
Well, my plan was I was going to poison him so he died, so he wouldn't talk about how he knows who we all are.
You do know the drow poison it knocks people unconscious, it doesn't kill.
Yeah, and if he's unconscious, he's a lot easier to kill, isn't he?
Oh, right, fair enough. Sorry, what were you saying, Matt?
Because now I'm probably have to fight him.
So just to me, you were going for like a 2-for-1 kind of special, right?
So
that was directed at Mike.
Yes. Everyone in that cell would be dead.
Is anybody else doing anything?
I have a question. If I don't have my Book of Shadows, does that mean I can't cast any spells?
No, you can't cast any of the spells that you gain from. You can't No, you can't cast any of the spells that you gained from your Book of Shadows.
So can he do cantrips?
Any cantrips he got from the Book of Shadows, he can't cast.
So yeah, so because the Book of Shadows gives you extra spells on top of your normal Warlock spells. So your Warlock spells you can prepare naturally.
Can you not just like summon it? I thought though.
Yeah, you can summon it, but that takes time, and I don't know if I'll be able to do it right now.
For what it's worth, as well, suddenly in front of Renland's cell, a Dwagar just appears, kind of shocking the maniacal Seraph back a little off the bars, and kind of smacks his own metal glaive on the bars and says, "Stand back, Drown! Shut the fuck up!" And then just backs away. Seraph just kind of is actively shaking and doesn't seem to know what to do. Like he's never been the most mentally sound. However,
can I just kind of approach the bars and just say, if you'll permit me, I can attempt to cure him of his insanity.
Hang on a second, right? Going from the picture we have in the background here, are we all on the? See, there's 5 cells on the right-hand side of that picture. Are we all like next to next to these cells,
Yes.
right?
Disclaimer: this picture is here for ambience only. This is just a random picture I got off the internet. This is not from the book. This is not.
That looks like a human.
This is not fully accurate. It is. I think it's Dwagar. It is called the Gracklester Prison, so I assume it's. But it's not. There are certain features in this picture admittedly that aren't there. For example, there's no windows with light cast in. Like that's just not a thing there is here. For what it's worth, you guys are basically in cells arranged that we'll say Eldif and Flint are in one cell. The cell next to them is Kamar and Cobalt. The cell next to that is Anwar, Stool, and Turvey. And then opposite, there is a cell with Sarith and Renlin in. And I think, yeah, that's everybody. So it's kind of a 3-in-1 situation. In reply to you, Cobalt, the Dwagar just spits and says, "He can be as crazy as he wants for all I care. I just need him to shut the fuck up and get himself a headache." And he just walks as if he's patrolling.
I just can't say, but just imagine if he was sane, you could get more information out of him.
I'm pretty sure he was sane before we attempted to start getting information out of him. Honestly, he was pretty sane before we put that guy in there, so whatever that guy did in literally the 5 minutes he's been in there, well, it's impressive, actually. Maybe we should have him talk to Broadskull. Might be able to teach him a few tricks. And the guard just walks past.
Broadskull was the
ending
guy.
The conversation by
Broadskull's the name of the captain.
Black Skull is the name of the captain. Broadskull is the name of the torturer that Sean just made up on the spot because he's very unimaginative of names.
Right.
So,
I have a mechanical question when you have a moment, but carry on.
Feel free. Now,
do punches count as weapon attacks?
No.
In terms of like spells and such.
No, they count as weapon attacks. They count as melee weapon attacks, but not attacks with a weapon. So you can't smite with them if that's what you're thinking.
Okay, partially yes, but also
doing
things like
dumb rule combinations.
I guess that's to stop you like smiting with just a grapple or something. Like if you can channel it through your fists, why can't you channel it through your fists with a grapple?
Yeah, it's
because a grapple doesn't take an attack roll, despite being an attack.
Yeah, but looking at it in a lore way, there is what.
Yeah, it's
my point
there's questions either way, but yeah,
okay. So mechanically, the wording is weapon attacks on you can't. So punches are not weapon attacks, but
they are weapon attacks. They're just not attacks with a weapon.
Yes, there's a difference.
Okay, so I'll do a more direct question then. Divine Favor's literal wording is, until your spell ends, your weapon attacks deal an extra 1d4 radiant damage on a hit. Can I do that with punching?
I'll say that would
work with punching, but if it would say your attacks with a weapon, then it wouldn't work. But because it said specifically as a melee weapon attack, yes, it would.
Okay.
They
deciding what spells I prefer.
They really need to work on their wording for 5th edition.
That's not great.
Okay. Thank you. Carry on. I'm still unconscious. Am I unconscious?
For what it's worth, we'll say that around this point you're waking up. Like the actual screams of Sarith across the way are quite loud, and they're kind of stirring you from your unconscious sleep. You kind of come to come to and find yourself in a kind of puddle of your own drool on a very hard stone. Well, no, actually, you're actually in a
I put him on
what seems to be a
bed.
very uncomfortable pile of grass.
I feel it's at this point I should point out I could have woken him up at any point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were wise not to.
It wouldn't have made things better, don't worry.
I know, that's why I didn't.
It would not have actively improved the situation.
For what it's worth, I'm going to sit down and sort of start muttering something under my breath for the next, I think,
Hour?
10, 11 minutes.
What are you doing?
I'm going to cast Detect Magic as ritual.
Okay.
Cool.
For what it's worth, in your cell, Matt, there is Turvey, who has kind of sat against the wall and gone full fetal mode, and Stool, who has just fully lowered his cap down to the floor, so that he's literally just huddled up, not shivering necessarily, but you can tell that he is very extremely scared of the situation and not really able to do anything.
Okay, after Crazy Drow Man has kind of gone and sat back down,
He's not sat back down. He's still just standing there, unsure what to do.
I'm going to go sit in the corner and very quietly start my ritual, which fortunately doesn't really require much, and I'm just going to very quietly just start muttering the words to myself, like facing the corner, like to the back of the cell, so anyone walking past would just sort of just see me looking in the corner.
Seeing you do this, Sarif, still in his completely crazy way, is going to say, "No, what are you doing? Magic!" And he turns to the bars. He's doing magic! He's doing magic!
And I'll immediately stop and turn around.
This is the point where I've woken up, right?
Yes.
Then, very groggily, I will peel myself off of the drool-drenched mattress,
Grass.
and sure, whatever. And then, very groggily, shout, "Will somebody shut that moron up?" I recognize that voice.
You do recognize that voice.
Yeah. So I shake myself.
On the shoulder. There. Go back to sleep.
I sit up, not quite regained my strength yet, because I'm assuming I've been beaten black and blue.
Oh yeah. Very
so
much so.
do I have like 1 health or what?
Yeah, you have. You have 1 health.
Okay, that's fine.
No, what I'm going to say, because technically it was all non-lethal, and technically I think you do have 1 health, but what I'm going to say instead is you have what health you were at before you were beaten down. However, you have a level of exhaustion, basically to indicate everything aches.
Okay, cool. I'll have to write that down somewhere.
So you know what that does?
No idea.
That's disadvantage
on ability checks.
You can look it up while we're doing things.
Alternatively, can I tell he looks exhausted?
I mean, you can see him. He is. The bruises haven't set in yet. Like,
I just kind of
20 minutes, but
tap him on the shoulder. There. It'll be all right soon, unless I restoration him.
All right, that doesn't require a holy symbol.
It doesn't require materials, so no.
Cool. You suddenly feel like the bruising's still there, the aches are still there, but it's not as bad. Like the stone one came through. You're muted for what it's worth, Mike.
I know, I was talking my stream.
All right.
Does restoration work on exhaustion?
I believe it does.
So
I'm pretty sure it does.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does.
I don't think I've ever had it on the character.
Yeah, it does, because there's the amount of pre-made adventures I've read.
I've just noticed someone's put like a black dot on the
consistently and keeps using less restoration potions to keep themselves awake. Less restoration is basically energy.
Yeah, I was about to say, is less restoration basically caffeine?
Less
Keep it away from me! Keep it away from me!
Yes.
You touch a creature and can end either 1 disease or 1 condition afflicting it. Condition can be blinded, deafened, paralyzed, or poisoned. So no, not exhaustion.
I'm going to say that includes exhaustion because I like the idea that
I would have thought it would cure a level of at the very least.
Yeah, well, that's what I would say. Yeah. Lesser restoration is 1 level of exhaustion. That's to me. That's the theme of the spell, so I'm going to go with that. Like mechanics aside, that feels right to me.
Or would you say that I could use my lay on hands to cure it instead?
I mean, Cobalt's already cured it with the lesser restoration.
Well, okay then.
You're still aching, so you can still, use your lay on hands to get
My God gets the credit.
For what it's worth, whilst all this is happening, a Dwagar appears again out of thin air, opposite to Renland's cell this time and comes marching over. Points a stubby finger in at Renland and says, "You, what are you doing?"
Well, as soon as he said he's doing magic, I immediately stopped what I was doing, turned around, and just
Is that what you're saying to him?
What?
Is that what you're saying to him? As soon as he said I was doing magic, I stopped.
I'm explaining to Beanie. So as soon as the guy has walked over to the cell, I'm actually just sort of sitting in the corner, like not apparently doing anything.
Yeah.
So what was it? What was he said again? Sorry.
And he sees that. He still points a finger in and says, "What are you doing?"
This guy's crazy. I can't even talk to myself without him shouting about something. Is there any way to shut this one up? I'm not lying.
You're not? No?
You are.
Well, actually, yes.
Kind of.
No, I'm kind of avoiding it. There'll be something I have to roll for it, but I'm not lying.
Deception is hiding the truth. It's not directly lying, but it is hiding the truth. So it is still deception. However, I'm just trying to figure out how his reaction to this from what you just said.
He is pretty crazy, though.
He is.
So, you know.
He shakes his head and says, "Two crazies in the same cell if you're talking to yourself. But you didn't answer the question, what the fuck you doing?"
Right now, sitting in the cell, talking to you.
Roll deception, because you are hiding the truth.
That is
also,
true.
for what it's worth, Beanie, just looking, Greater Restoration does explicitly say you can cure 1 level of exhaustion.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I'll go with that. 13.
In that case, since Mike's lay on hands could do it anyway, we'll retroactively say that like,
okay.
If one of the later ones does it, and that's still the theme, it's just it requires more magic. Which I guess makes sense.
Well,
exhaustion is easy.
Lay on hands doesn't specifically say you can get rid of exhaustion with it. It's just you can heal.
Oh, in that case, well, you're still exhausted.
It does
Sorry.
have a thing where you can spend 5 points to cure
something. Yeah,
issue.
I thought that was.
I don't know if that applies to exhaustion or not.
I didn't know that was
one poison.
How about you go Google it and figure it out while
Yeah.
other people are doing things, because it's slowing things down again.
I was going to say, yeah, if people who aren't in this scene or aren't paying attention to the scene, just sort that out and I'll figure this out, finish this with Laurie, because so you roll deception. For what it's worth, you are rolling against Sarif's persuasion, because he is still shouting out, "No, he was doing something, magic, he was using magic." However, he is at disadvantage because he is batshit crazy. That's a natural 12. And I'm pretty sure that I'll actually have charisma, so.
Like, I would be the one who gets stuck with the fucking drow, wouldn't I? Oh, God.
What'd you get? You got 13, he got 13. Can you roll again? Just for the sake of. Yeah, but there isn't. You're both kind of defending in a different manner here, so I'm just going to say roll off again.
7.
He's still at disadvantage for what it's worth. So that's,
yeah, but 7.
9. The Dwagar does kind of look in at you. Kind of looks over his shoulder and says, "You two over here. We've got a caster." And pulls a key out of his belt, meaning to come into the cell. Sarif, seeing this, immediately, no, and kind of actually full on runs the back of the cell, like away from the door. Like
I'll say as he's coming in, he's go, "Look, you've already taken away my magical book."
He doesn't reply to it as you're doing this. He just walks in with 2 other guards. You can see one of the guards pull what looks like a rag off his belt, like a blindfold or something, maybe.
Oh, I know.
And they both they move to you. Are you going to resist anything they do to you?
No. Also, he's going to put it in my mouth, isn't he?
They grab you. Or the one that originally just grabs you, and the other one just forcefully, very roughly, pulls this into your mouth, quite painfully, like it's digging into your cheeks as he pulls this around your mouth and ties it on the back of your head tightly. And you are still manacled as well, as I said previously, so you're not going to be able to undo that, or at least not without being very obvious about it. And he just chucks you to the ground, and all 3 just walk out again, locking the door behind them. As they do this, Sarif just kind of watches, eyes open wide, and then just kind of sinks into the corner again, into the fetal position.
I stop mumbling to myself.
Fair enough.
God damn it! Like my one plan
with all of
was to
Sarah's
get that guy to
streaming,
die with the
doing that.
poison, and then seeing as that didn't work, now it's all going downhill. I can't cast anything, and I can't summon my book again.
I wish to do the check that Cobalt did, which is see how many guards there are, where they are, that sort of thing.
Roll perception.
Cool. So, wait, did we land on whether or not I was still exhausted?
You are still exhausted.
Okay, well, let me write that down.
I think they're right. That exhaustion is quite a nasty thing, and it does require higher level magic.
It is. Seems weird to me that it's 5th level before you, or 5th level spells, should I say, before you can.
I think because normally you're just supposed to sleep for a night.
It's also there's simple ways of getting rid of it, and ways of getting exhaustion are a lot more common than and can be a bit more abused than say. Like there's no real gain out of poisoning yourself, but like staying up all night to get something done and then taking a less restoration for a single spell to get rid of the exhaustion, it could be abused. So anyway, what'd you roll, Mike?
I didn't do it yet. So you said
persuasion, perception
with disadvantage because of exhaustion.
Yes.
Right.
Your eyes, they ache. Which is fair. You've got 2 black eyes coming in.
That's the link to the regular show. That's not my role.
The regular show?
So the clip I put in Discord a while ago. That's from a show called The Regular Show.
Hey.
So disadvantage. It's not going well. Oh, that went worse.
Oh dear.
That started bad and got worse.
You try and look out of the cell, but
all for one and all for one.
Everything aches. You can actually barely open your eyes. Like they're starting to swell. You're pretty sure they're swelling, and you can't see out. You couldn't tell if there was 1 guard or 100 out there right now. Like, your ears are ringing. Your eyes are swollen. They're watering. It's horrible.
I recognize the situation, and I say, "Preacher, wake me up when the jailbreak happens." And I just slump back on the grass mattress. I don't care if it hurts at this point. I'm passing out.
Even as Kamar says this, and you kind of turn back to kind of look at him as he says it, another Dwagar appears out of thin air in front of your cell and says, "What did that one just say?"
I'm passed out.
The one who was.
He's saying this to Quote.
Yeah.
You mean the one who was beaten unconscious and is now just once again fallen unconscious?
That'd be the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
Don't know. He tends to talk to himself a lot.
Pretty sure he just said the word jailbreak. Wouldn't
Yeah.
be wanting to cause any trouble, would you? You've only just got here after all. You've got to spend at least a few nights here before you get to really appreciate the hospitality of the Dwagar, you know?
In my sleep, I go.
I don't. I've never been to a Dwagar encampment. I mean,
well,
truly.
Oh, he called it an encampment. It's a city.
I did.
Well,
a city is an encampment.
All the more reason to give us the chance to show you our hospitality, then, isn't it?
Of course.
I'll ask again. You're not going to cause any trouble, are you?
Is there any need to cause trouble?
That wasn't the
Roll
right
me
answer.
a persuasion check at disadvantage for avoiding the question.
I'm not avoiding the question. I'm straight
yeah, you did.
If I need to cause
Answering a
trouble to
question
him.
with a question. That is the definition of avoiding a fucking question.
Here's a yes or no question. Well, here's a question for you.
Free.
I choose option 3.
And he gestures over his shoulder, and 4 guards accompany him. He brings out a nice little cell key. Opens
Some of your famed hospitality, is it?
And you notice these guys, like the guards that you had travelled with, they had just manacles on them. These guys have a fair amount of very kinky chaining equipment. Are you resisting?
I mean, what are they trying to do?
They seem to be trying to basically put you in more chains than you're currently.
I think they're going to make you their bitch.
I just kind of say, "Oh my, is that what you're into?"
They
like, oh,
if you're not resisting, then they manacle your ankles together, giving you a foot of slack so you can kind of shuffle along. They put a metal band around your belt. They then go to Kamar.
I wouldn't recommend that.
Who?
I actually do just say I wouldn't.
Make perception at disadvantage, Mike.
For the record, he speaks the truth. It's not recommended.
It's not recommended.
Like,
They're
I'll
still
even
doing
add a
it.
hint of
Oh boy,
nervousness.
fighting time.
Like, that's gotta be a persuasion check at
I'll
the
just be
very-
like, I really wouldn't, like... you
perception.
say you don't want
So
us to
there's
cause
thought.
trouble, that's just gonna cause trouble. Don't wake him up. It's better for
fair.
everyone if he's
Fair.
asleep. It's just...
You do start coming to from a groggy sleep as you feel your hands suddenly forced behind your back and metal suddenly sprung around them. This is the point where you suddenly become conscious enough to actually act, as there is currently 5 Dwagar basically pressing down you, attempting to now shackle your feet together.
Okay.
I just
Yeah,
can't
are
do
they
this.
doing
I
anything?
just like, that wasn't really
I always thought this
advisable.
bondage stuff was more of a drow thing.
Now, what should I do?
I'm actually going to start looking at these chains as well, just be like,
They're black iron, very similar to the armor and stuff they wear. Like it seems that this dark iron is a very common ore within this part of the Underdark. It was at least for the Dwagar.
Are my hands shackled yet? Like, is
They
any
are,
part of me
yes.
shackled yet?
Your hands being shackled was what woke you up.
Okay.
So your hands are currently shackled behind your back.
Can I quickly try and kick one of their legs out from under them as I notice this?
Okay, so again, for the sake of the overwhelming odds, do you mind if I go into DM?
Okay, so my actual plan here, just so you know,
Yeah.
was to try and kick them out the legs from under them. If one of them was successful, I was going to try and stand up and then headbutt the next guy.
All right.
Do with that information what you will.
So, just to
This isn't going to go well.
get this into perspective, seeing this all
Mike's
happen,
plans
would
never go
Cabal
well.
interfere or anything, or are you just standing back and letting Kamar?
I'd just stand back and just be like, I mean, I told you guys, like, don't say I didn't warn you.
Oh man, can I smite them using a headbutt?
All right.
I totally would.
You know what?
You absolutely
So,
would.
Suddenly waking from his sleep very rudely, Kamar looks around, sees what's happening, and immediately brings his leg up and back in a devastating kick to one of the Dwagar's ankles, which causes him to fall face first into the floor. You hear an almighty cracking sound and start to see a little bit of blood escaping his head. Kamar then stands to his feet, hands behind his back, brings his head back, smashes it against another Dwagar's head. There's a moment of stillness where their heads are just connected, and then just a bright light shoots into this Dwagar. He falls backwards in pain, still alive but unconscious, but in pain. At this point, more Dwagar, some already visible, rushing down from other corridors, others just appearing outside the cell, all rush in. And there's a very similar situation to what happened about 20 minutes ago, where it's just beating down on Kamar, like, over and over and over.
Moments before they actually close in on me, I shout, "What? You small children afraid to fight a shackled man?"
At which point he goes silent once more.
Can I just have a nice big smile on my face as, like, all that's going on? I'm taking a small amount of enjoyment watching him getting beat down.
Weirdly so am I. I think at this point I'm into it.
I will be the same.
Um,
But now I've got things to
I
say
should
to my
turn to the
Dwagar
Dwagar, just
friend
be like,
here.
"Thank
Not
you."
Dwagar friend, Drow friend.
the
Probably
Dwagar,
needed that, admittedly.
most of the Dwagar drag their injured buddies out, whereas a few stay just long enough to shackle Kamar's legs and put the belt loop around him. They then drag you over there, again, assuming you're not going to resist, and chain you together, like a chain links you. On the belt.
Oh, that's the worst part.
I'll actually just be like, I mean, you have to chain me
Bloody
to
hell,
him,
his output
like,
is so fucking loud.
So there is 2 feet of chain
Wait,
between.
like,
are we going
Meaning
to form
you're
a chain
basically
gang?
forced to
Have
kind
to
of sit
reduce
down.
that so
Are we
much.
forming a chain gang?
Keep telling him to reduce
So
his
they
output,
got-
but he never
so
does
did
it.
they leave the cell after that?
Yes, they do.
I still didn't take my holy symbol. It's gonna keep happening.
hey Mike, do you want to know a secret?
They didn't
They
take
just
your
gave me more metal to work with.
I'm fully playing this as the Dwagar, not
I
as
know.
DM who knows your tricks and also makes it still. I'm gonna roll a perception check at advantage because there's a lot of them to see if they notice the shining of your symbol.
Oh,
smited.
come on.
I have forgotten that as a thing. So that's a natural 3 and a natural 4. So no, you've still got your holy symbol on you.
Good.
They all exit, leaving a surprisingly cheerful kobold, considering the situation, kind of sat on the floor next to a once more unconscious with one smite marked off on your spells, and also one more level of exhaustion. So you're at exhaustion level 2 right now.
Okay. How high can you go before you
just kind
die?
of shout a little bit just to make sure the other cells here just like, you guys didn't see that, but Kamar just got beat again, and I know I'm supposed to be really nice, but that was rather entertaining.
In the words of the Zwerfneblin, ha!
I'm like unconscious, and I'm like, you know how you get a cauliflower ear? I'm a cauliflower everything.
Yes, you are.
But I'm just there with a massive grin on my face, just unconscious.
If you've ever seen those images of somebody who's like horribly allergic to things and the effects it has on their face, that's your face right now with all the small
everything.
bruises. Yeah. Oh no, they mostly went for your face. A few of them went for the groin, like they're dirty fighters, but most of them went for your face. Like it's mostly just in your head.
Well, I'd expect
on your head.
nothing. Expect nothing less of the lesser race.
Obviously.
I'm imagining with what's happened, this is basically what it looks like now.
Okay, for the record, how?
Yes.
Yep, pretty much. I am sloth now. But yeah, for the record, how many levels of exhaustion can you get before you just die?
7.
7.
Sixth is death.
Yeah, but you're still pretty screwed over with 2. I don't think, it's only 2, it's not bad. Oh, it's bad. 1 is bad.
I'm not waking up again.
Like, this is the point where you have disadvantage attack rolls and stuff as well.
No,
yeah, I'm not waking up again.
I've got it here, 2 is half speed.
Yeah.
Is it?
Like I am at this point so badly destroyed physically that even if they're at the point where they're like, they sling me in front of someone and demand questions, I'm just out. Like, I'm gone. There's no making me up until that's gone.
For what it's worth, is anybody else doing anything, or is time all right to just pass on for a bit? Anybody else got anything they want to do?
Well, actually, one of the things I just wanted to check is, can I actually like get my hands behind my back? So I just think if you kind of like do this.
I will say you can get you can make an acrobatics check. Like, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to get in behind them?
I want to see if I can actually get my hands, like, I'm not actually going to untie it, but I want to see if I can get my hands behind the back of my head to where it is tied.
Roll an acrobatics check. And I'm assuming you're trying to do this without being seen, yeah?
Well, I'm just going to try and do it, but I'm guessing at an 8 I actually can't manage to do it.
No, you just...
So I'm just like...
You kind of... Just, it's more of a stretch than a... than any actual attempt of doing anything.
So,
yep.
I have a somewhat mechanical question here.
Mm-hmm.
How noticeable is my... Oh shit, what's it called? The thing I do to make shit, my channel ability.
Yeah.
I would assume, considering that, like, I'm assuming, so that's metal stuff, isn't it?
Yes.
And your god is the god of the forge. So in my mind, at least, the picture of that is either it's a godly thing, so it's got a holy light kind of on it, or it's a forge-based thing, so it just kind of takes up like a red-hot metal. Either of which is going to kind of give out a light. Feel free, this is your ability.
Is basically it.
Well, again, this is your ability, so if you don't picture it like that, if you picture it as another way, feel free to describe it.
No, I think that's fair. Like, it's basically, if I was to do it, would someone notice kind of thing? Which,
I mean, I imagine if it involves liquid hot metal, I'd notice. Actually, no, I wouldn't.
It doesn't involve liquid hot metal, though. It's literally just I take materials and turn it into a thing.
Mechanically, there is this item, now it is this item. How would you picture it as changing from this to this? Like, how would you picture the spell taking effect? Is it just literally, it is that, now it's that, or do you picture it as actually like,
I don't know.
reforming?
It's not really something I've given that much thought to be perfectly honest.
In that case, I'm going to take a liberty.
We'll say coalescing, which...
So here's the thing, right? I can cast Misty Step to teleport out if I want to, but there's guards everywhere. I can also cast Command, because basically Misty Step and Command are only verbal. So I might be able to do those. I just tell them to untie. But...
I feel like that would be how I picture it in my mind. So if you're okay with that,
I'm maybe just kind of screwed now. I'm able to cast any spells.
It'd give off at least a little bit of light, just enough to be noticeable, especially in the dark areas like this. Like in broad daylight outside, it might not be noticeable, but down here, it would be.
Yeah, that's fine. Guess I'm not doing that then.
Yeah. Also, for what it's worth, I will say there are torches up here. The Dwagar obviously don't need them, but in some odd way, they're actually respecting the prisoners they have that might need it, and they do actually have torches up. This might just be because of the amount of times they probably had to, well, the amount of accidents they probably had in cells before deciding to add torches to their dungeon layout. Anyway, is anybody else wanting to do anything?
I'm unconscious.
You are unconscious.
For quite a while.
For quite a while. Nothing? All right.
I guess I would just be looking to see, like, this black iron or whatever it is, whether it's what kind of material it is. Basically, just to kind of.
Okay.
I don't know how much experience I've had with black iron, but just sort of testing its properties.
Roll intelligence and proficiency.
I'm just going to be sitting at the side of myself with this look of hatred at the drow.
15.
15.
I'm going to look up what exhaustion is.
Like, the little things that you can tell from it from this, like, without actually doing proper testing, it really does just look as if it is just a extra strong version of iron, like, as a metal. It is, it's not necessarily as strong as a compounded metal might be, but or an alloy metal, is that the word? Yeah, an alloyed metal, but it is stronger than iron, per se.
Well, I think I know what what I'm going to try and use to put the finishing touches on something I've been working on.
Yeah.
How much time goes past then?
So, well, again, if everybody's done, you don't
short rest time.
You don't fully know how long goes. I will say you can completely get the benefits of a short rest if you wish. Everybody except for Kamar, this is unfortunately.
I am past the
get all my spell slots back. Thank you.
Could honestly
Then it's been a while.
Being sat in yourselves with only really your own heartbeats to kind of measure.
Not that I can cast any spells, but there you go.
The passing of time. It could be anything between 4 and 12 hours.
Oh damn!
Before finally something happens. A contingent of Dwagar come to your cells. They open the cell doors, and at this point, Kamar, you've come to consciousness about half an hour ago, and are basically sat in a lot of pain, kind of back against the wall, just holding yourself up, like,
Aren't I shackled to Cobalt?
You are, but like you just sat next to Cobalt, kind of thing.
Did I get a long rest?
No, that wasn't long enough.
Oh, you said 12 hours.
How long was it?
I said 4 to 12 hours. You didn't. You can't fully tell.
Now, Beanie, how long was it? Because I can get a long rest in that.
Did you actually decide to?
Notes.
You still need the 4 hours of rest. You just need the.
No, I technically need 8. I just only need to sleep for 4. I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you still need 4 hours of rest on top of the sleep. Is what I'm saying.
So
yeah,
you're
going to really screw us over.
I would absolutely try.
Because we have no idea what time of day it is now.
You are woken up before the long rest finishes, so it is before 8 hours. However, the cell doors for Redland's cell, Cobalt and Kamar's cell, and Anwar's cell are all opened individually. First off, it's Anwar's cell, and the three of you, Anwar, Stool, and Turvey, are all told to follow. They then get Renlan, like telling Sarif to stay in the cell. They tell Renlan to come with them.
I'll as soon as they come up and actually start opening the cell doors, I'll stand up and try and present myself as best as I can, even though I'm a complete fucking mess.
They don't give you any look other than the look they've been giving you the entire time, which is just that.
Oh, it's mainly for myself.
Fair enough. And then they open the door to Kamar and Cobalt's cell, telling you
to go back to sleep.
Well. All right. They tell.
In fact,
I just kind of turn and look and just like, I can't do anything here.
It's like you did it.
You did this.
I told you not to, but you did it.
I did ask nicely not to do this, but as much as I would like to stand up, and I just kind of try.
I'm quite a large man.
Like...
One of them grins, kind of stops, shuts the door again, and says, "Give us a minute." Steps away,
Oh, he's a quickie, he's a quickie, isn't he? He only needs a minute.
You might actually want to wake up.
Okay, serious question. So, because if you said that I did get woken up, rather than going back to sleep, could I feign being asleep, but instead be preparing my spells for the day?
Roll a deception check.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Don't you need a long rest to change your prepared spells?
I would.
Yes.
So,
You've not got a long rest, so yeah.
Never mind then.
So they disappear out of sight for most of you. Renan, you can still see where they go from your cell. Actually, no, saying that, Renan and Warren, all the small guys, all small people, are actually outside, so you can all see this as about 4 of them just go into Flint and Eldif's cell. And there's a quick exchange of words, which isn't quite understandable from the distance you're at. And then the Dwagar just start laying into them, both of them, start beating them down.
Yes,
Cobalt,
of course.
you can't see this, fortunately. You can just kind of hear the muffled sounds of something happening, as if a fight's just started. A few minutes later, they then drag the now unconscious form of... That's cocked. Of Eldith out of the cell and towards your cell. They open the door again, go in. One of them goes to you and attempt. And again, are you resisting as he goes for your belt?
For my belt, no.
You can tell, as you say, because I've now seen an unconscious dwarf in his arms as well. He undoes the belt on you and puts it around Eldith. Still keeping the shackles on your legs, making it very awkward that he then roughly pushes you out of the cell.
Trying to establish that orientation in my head is kind of weird.
Well, I now have an unconscious dwarf attached to me.
Not to you. Now she's attached.
Not better.
Oh, to Kamar, right. Okay.
Oh, I was trying to think of that in my head, and I was like, how are they... What?
Like, how's this helping?
Alright.
Logic is basically there is an anchor on Kamar at all times.
I'll just kind of look at them as I see Eldon and just go and just ask, was that necessary?
It was fun. At which point he walks back. Make an insight check.
It's more of a case of it's an NPC and a character that isn't played anymore. They need to get beaten up. We need to get rid of those.
23.
Ooh.
There's
detective.
This foursome that had disappeared and done this. They completely acting not as if it's normal. Other Dwagar that are around are giving them odd looks, as if what the fuck just happened is, they're not sure what's just happened either.
I'll just kind of say, you might think it's fun. Your companions, and I'll kind of gesture at what little I can with my arms, just like, these guys seem a little unsure. Like, do you feel like cluing the rest of us in?
Seeing you question this, all the other Dwagar just kind of suddenly stop and kind of regain their composure and just fall into rank and file. Like they go into soldier mode and just start surrounding you and escorting you. And one of them says, "Shut up, scum. Captain Blackskull wants to speak to you." And as you pass, you actually get a glance into Flint's cell, and you can see lying on the floor. There's no blood as far as you can tell, but you can see a very beaten and bruised and unconscious Flint. Okay, is anybody doing anything as you're being escorted?
Nope, I'm just following.
I'm going to memorize the faces of those 4.
Yep, they've taken up the front of the group. Like they seem to be,
But Mike,
the one that was the kind of
Mike, Phil, all the way got look the same.
That's right.
The one that kind of initiated the whole thing is a fully bald Dwagar with a spiky white beard that just goes down to about the middle of his pectorals. And him and his others seem to be the ones in charge here, him specifically. They escort you up the stairs, and still in the dungeon layer of this facility, they lead you into what seems to be an office of sorts. Where you are taken to a dark office and met by an imposing female grey dwarf Dwagar. She is fully armoured and bears an insignia you have not seen on any other Dwagar. She is flanked by 2 stone guards who remain by the door. "I am Captain Aird Blackskull, commander of the Stone Guard," she says, giving each of you a calculating look. "Let me start by saying you are worth nothing here in Grapplester. Most of those in my command would sell you off in a heartbeat as the cheapest manual labour. However, I've learned to make much better use of adventurers like you, and from what I heard, a few of you have at least shown aptitude for the for combat at the very least, if not in intellectual pursuits.
Oh, so, please tell me there's like the one with the bleeding head is in there.
Amongst your ranks, I believe.
She actually, this stops her immediate. Actually, no. She says this and says, "Yes, I've heard of
start with the G.
I've heard of Gorglak's situation. He has been questioned, and it does seem it seems worthy to put an investigation into action. However, this is simply put, this is the latest in a long line of recent events that have me questioning the safety and security of our city." Now,
yes, I agree. I mean, just mere moments ago,
shut up.
For beating prisoners, for
if
no
you
reason.
If you are not going to shut up, I'll have you return to your cell and I'll speak to your companions alone. You have been warned.
It's where the party's at.
So, I need a group that can pass unseen within this city, and strangely enough, a group of foreigners like yourselves are much more likely to be able to do that than a group of my own stone guard. Are you willing to make a deal?
Are you heading to the circumstances?
Sorry.
Yes.
At this point, she just kind of looks at Renlin. She sees the gang in your mouth. Kind of looks around the rest of the group instead, just kind of ignoring you.
Yes.
That's rude.
You are? Does he speak for the group? Feel free just to nod. She kind of gestures in Renlin's direction.
I'll just sort of go.
That's small.
Are we not permitted to know the details of this agreement beforehand?
No. I'll tell you the details once you have agreed to help, and once you have been contracted into an oath of silence.
I will sort of lean in, not kind of hushed tone, well, kind of a almost whispering, but making sure that she can definitely hear what I'm saying. It's like, it's this, or being stuck in that cell for God knows how long.
Without changing her own volume, she just looks down at you and says, "Yes, it is."
Yes, but the idea is if she tells us, and I'm going to kind of do the whole pretending to be quiet kind of thing, but not really. But if she tells us what the deal is, and we accept it, we appear more willing, more trustworthy.
This one seems more annoying than useful. So you all know, my temper only runs so far, and I am mere seconds away from sending him simply back to the cell to deal with the rest of you alone. Should you not control your companion.
Really good thing I'm not there.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
This would have gone very differently.
Dwagar, yo.
Humans,
does this extend to the rest of our companions downstairs as well?
Well, we need some sort of guarantee that you're not just going to simply get away from our guards and find some hidden escape route out of the city. And as such, we have decided we will keep the dwarfs. Seems that the human has an exceptional combat ability from what my guards have told me, and as such, I feel it'll be an unstrategic move to remove him from your party during these tasks.
And what will happen to our dwarf companions while we're away?
No, they will simply stay within their cells. We have no need to get intelligence out of them. No need to deal with them. They will be treated fairly.
No unnecessary beatings. And again, I turn and look at the guy who...
He's not in the room anymore. They led you in and then left.
Oh, they've all gone.
It's her and the two Dwagar that are kind of flanking her. Both of whom have this entire time barely moved. British soldiers.
Okay, I'll just say no unnecessary beatings then.
That is not a That is not a thing that happens. It is.
I disagree. It happened mere moments ago.
Roll persuasion check.
Kamar's face disagrees.
Yeah, but yours, you had it coming. That wasn't an unnecessary
I don't even know why I'm
meeting.
bothering to roll persuasion anymore. We know how I've been doing tonight on it.
I mean, yeah.
18!
There you go.
She
pessimist.
she moves to a desk, takes a book, and ink pen nearby, puts moves it closer onto a desk a bit close to you, puts the book down and starts scribbling in this book. What was this incident? Explain it to me.
I explain. I tell her exactly what happened as far as I'm concerned, how...
What did happen as far as you're concerned?
They came to collect us to bring to her. They walked into my cell, decided that they couldn't bring Kamar, not wanting to leave him seemingly without another attached to him, went to the cell with the dwarves in, beat them up to unconsciousness, without, there was no words exchanged as far as I could hear, and then brought one of them in and attached them to Kamar.
She scribbles all this down as you're talking, turns to one of the other guards and and whispers something to him that none of you can hear unless you're actively trying to kind of listen in. Are any of you doing that, or you just kind of letting it?
Well, by listening in, will it be noticeable that we're actually trying to listen in?
It'd be the same as kind of just tilting your head just slightly and just trying to
No, I'll leave it.
No, I'll let it slide.
I'll give it the benefit of the doubt here.
Okay. In that case, she says something, and then that guard says, kind of looks at you, you all, says, "Now, Captain. Now, I'll be fine. Go." At which point he moves past you all and out of the room, and you're left with her and the other guard still in the room.
I'm actually going to watch him leave and just kind of turn back, looking a bit surprised, like, "Oh, you have my thanks."
She says, "Well, this is the first part of you fulfilling your contract. As it would turn out, this has a direct influence on what of one of the tasks that I'm hoping to ask of you. Now, are you all? If you're all in agreement, then I would have you all sign a contract of silence. None of this is to be spoken of outside of these walls. You only to speak of these to myself, of these matters to myself. Is this understood?"
I'll just nod.
Oh, there's a flaw in this plan.
We're signing an NDA.
And at this point, she does actually bring out, she goes into a desk and brings out a parchment, which she rolls out, does a quick scan, and then puts on the table and says, "Each of you in turn, I need your name and sign here."
There's a really big flaw in this plan.
Scribble.
While Anwar's writing on that, am I able to read the writing on it?
Yeah,
what writing is it in?
It is in Dwarven.
So no, I can't then.
Can I?
No, Kamar's the only one that speaks Dwarven.
No, Flint speaks Dwarven.
And Elder.
Also not there.
How do I not speak Dwarven?
How do you not speak Dwarven?
Because I speak Undercommon.
Yeah, that does seem weird.
How does he Shotweb?
No, it does make more sense for me to speak Undercommon than Dwarven.
It does, it does for the backstory. Although, yeah.
It does seem a bit odd I can't speak Dwarven still, though.
It does.
Well, we can speak Undercommon.
I would say you don't speak Dwarven, but you recognise it. You recognise words. Probably before you were captured, Flint was in the process of teaching you Dwarven.
Hello, goodbye, sorry, and can you please point me to the train station?
I was going to say, can you please point me to the nearest loo?
I don't need the loo. I'm a construct.
And yet that's what he taught you, Phil.
You might need a train, though.
That's how damn good a construct he wanted to make.
He just gave you a dwarven handbook, and his reader was like, "If I told you you had a beautiful body, would you rub it against me?"
That's a very bad thing for your dad to give you.
I'll
It is Flint.
Bad touch.
I'll sign the contract, and then once I've done that, I'll kind of sort of go.
As you're actually in the process of signing this, she does actually add, and you're all in charge of keeping control of your companion, who is not here to sign this contract. Any flaw of the contract by him is a flaw of the contract by yourselves. Just so you know.
Renlund, he'll sign anything you put in front of him. Contract with
none
dwarves.
of us here can understand it, so.
Contract with Dwegar. Contract with demons. He'll sign anything.
So is is that stopping you from signing it?
I'm gonna have a quick look over it, I suppose. What little
Why not ask them to let one of the dwarves read it?
Make an intelligence
Because none
check.
of the dwarves are there.
Yeah,
Both
ask them
the
to go get
dwarves
them.
are unconscious.
Actually, we're speaking to a dwarf at the moment. I think you'll find.
Well, that's racist.
It's not as such.
So roll an intelligence check, Phil.
Not 20.
All right. So
I've just
You
noticed someone's actually
understand
rewritten what
fluently.
it says on
you,
the
well, no, you
thing.
don't understand it fluently. Far from it. But you make out
They've rewritten it to
finding out
shorts.
the words. Like you actually recognise this and this and you wouldn't
What,
like
bitch?
this.
What?
This is by no way like the read of it that a lawyer would do, for example. But it is. You can make out the gist of the contract. You can actually make out that this is a contract of exactly what, as far as you can tell, exactly what she says. It just says something about silence about something. If broken,
You'll be broken.
imprisonment, slavery.
I'm just going to kind of look at it and go, now, could you clarify for the idiots among us who don't speak? I'm going to look at the paper and just say, Dwegar. And what's this part about? If breaking the contract?
She picks it up, skims over it. If the contract is broken, then all guilty individuals, all individuals guilty of breaking said contract will be be put into forced imprisonment and possible and sold into slavery over the slave markets for the good of Gracklester, with all money going to the good of Gracklester.
Can you use a gag?
She looks at you.
Please?
High or low?
Low.
14, sorry.
Just the note of defeat in his voice. Like, hello.
I'm legitimately trying to justify it in my head, but they wouldn't do it, so I just gave you the high or low as an off chance that, a miracle happens and they decide to. I'm sorry, it's these horrible characters. I don't mean to be this mean.
This has been a good day. Brendan is gagged. I'm unconscious. It's been a good day.
Meanie beanie.
I like to think of myself as a nice DM, but
The two evil members of the party have actually already been dealt with. The two members of the party that are left to actually do stuff are like the two morally outstanding members of the party.
Hey, I think you'll find I'm lawful good.
Evil. You are not lawful good.
Anyway,
I obey somebody's laws.
You are not lawful or good.
you do obey your own laws, and in its own way, you are good. Just
I would argue very chaotic.
If
It is incredibly
you had
chaotic.
to argue
the thing
in
is,
your own way, it's not the thing that you're arguing.
the thing is, this is why I dislike lawful as an alignment. Lawful
Actually-
is the following of laws. It's not actually
Oh,
honor,
right.
which is what I always thought it was as a kid when I was playing this.
I'm
It's following laws, and his temple, they have laws. He is following
Although,
those laws to the
Now
left.
that I look at my sheet again, I'm actually not lawful good. I'm chaotic good. So there you go.
Yeah.
Well, I would have still argued that you were actually
Yeah,
lawful good
me
for that
too.
reason. But yeah, either way, it's not
Yeah.
that
Why
important
not just
until it
split
comes
the difference and call him neutral good?
Why not split the
No,
difference
yeah.
and call him chaotic evil?
Anyway, so
I'll just looking over the contract again. Is there anything noticeably magic about it?
there's no glyphs or runes or anything on it.
Doesn't feel tingly or anything.
No. Roll an Arcana check.
Ugh.
What's my
Yeah.
bonus for that? Probably not high.
Probably 0, like your intelligence.
Probably a 0, which is better than my persuasion.
Mm.
That 20.
That's 14. Not encouraging.
14? No, it seems fine.
I'll just kind of go, done it once, why not?
Okay. You sign the contract. And why are you signing it?
I was the first one.
He was the first one to sign it, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I missed that. Stool.
That's a good point.
I just kind of say, does the Myconid really need to?
Yeah, he just kind of looks up. Like, Cap's still pretty much all the way down to his feet. Like, he's still scared enough that his cap is basically just showing his tips of his feet. And she just says,
showing off his tips.
No, that will be fine. That one, however, and she points at Turvey, who just kind of inches forward and very shakily takes it. Kind of puts the pen down. At this time, you notice that at this point, it's like he's kind of hung near Renlin and keeps looking at him as if he's wanting to ask something, but realizing now's probably not the time. Like, he definitely has something on his mind.
I think I know what it is because I was about to ask exactly the same thing.
I think I also know what it is, but
Well, I don't know what it is.
At all, so.
I mean, feel free to ask me right now.
I will ask her because I think it is probably. I've just thought of it, but it probably would have been a question that's been on Anwar's mind since they're thrown into the cells.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Have you arrested any others Verf Neblin recently?
Why would anyone ask
Roll
me
persuasion
that?
check.
Oh dear.
This is basic for what it's worth. This is basically the mechanic of getting any information out of her. You're going to have to, like, she's not.
Oh, 12.
That beats 10, so that'll be fine. She does look and says, "No, only a foreigner we've arrested over the last few weeks was a drow.
Surprised they arrested
Crazy
him and
bastard.
just kill him."
I look down at Turvey. No, Topsy.
Yeah,
Turvey, isn't it?
It is Turvey.
Pretty sure it's Turvey, yeah.
Yeah, Topsy is female. Topsy and Turvey. Topsy is first. He still kind of looks like he's got something on his mind, but he does kind of look at you and give you a look of. You get the feeling that he is a bit grateful of you asking that question, but it still raises other questions. It seemed for him.
Like, where the fuck is she gone?
Basically.
Oh god! I just realised she must have killed Sarif and turned into him.
She then takes out 2 more contracts from the desk and says, "So, the oath of silence is signed. Breaking that, as previously stated, will result in imprisonment or slavery. These are the 2 tasks that I would ask of you to perform. Until you sign them, you're at no liberty to perform them. However, until you sign them, until you complete them, we're at no liberty to offer any assistance to you. However, you'll simply remain in the cells, most likely, or be sold off to slavery."
Are these also both written in Dwarven?
Yes, they're currently rolled up. You can't see them. She's holding one in each hand, kind of thing. Almost like she's some sort of administrator weapon types of parchment.
Okay, I don't know what they are, but at the same time, I don't think we've got much of a choice.
Well, how about you at least let me explain them?
That was me saying it.
Oh, fair enough. Well, she puts the first one down and says, "First, we have a issue with the Darrow in the city. The Darrow, crazy little bastards, have always been a nuisance ever since they were liberated from their proper role. However, one in particular has been causing us issues. For what it's worth, I will remind you, Pepido was what Darrow was. If you remember him, tiny.
Remember the name.
Basically, what Dwagar are to dwarfs, Darrow are to gnomes.
No, I thought Sverf Neblin were the gnomes versions because Sverf Neblin are deep gnomes.
Appearance-wise, like the grey skin, the white hair, the same stature. Sverf Neblin are a subrace of gnomes, as are Darrow. Darrow are the kind of the evil underground subrace, if that makes sense. Like there's 2 Underdark gnomes.
Right. Evils Sverf Neblin.
Yeah, but again, no, there is a there's a very big difference in them. And I will say, Matt, as an Underdark native, you can actually roll a history check if you want.
Ooh,
As a
see what you know about
Neblin as well, surely.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's one of the knowledges I don't have.
I snore.
That's fair. Sorry, Mike, I didn't mean to write you out of this.
21.
I wrote myself out of this.
That's fair. That's fair. As long as I'm not. Yeah.
I know what
21.
I did. It's fine.
Yeah. You know what Darrow are, Matt. They are, again, they're a gnomish subrace. They are basically a. Now. They are a gnomish subrace, native to the Underdark, that are, putting it simply, batshit crazy. Every single one of them is born with a tendency towards madness. They hate every other race more so than even Dwagar or the Drow that you've seen. Like, have an intolerance to people. They literally hold complete hatred towards anything non-Darrow. They even hold a lot of hatred towards other Darrow. They are just a very hateful and spiteful race, filled with paranoia and madness.
So dealing with them isn't a bad thing.
No, dealing with them would be, well, it'd be akin to dealing with an evil race. In general, if you were to make a stereotyped guess at their race, it would be they are likely an evil race. That's the stereotype.
So this is basically we're going to be getting rid of the town's cockroaches.
Yeah, basically, you're on.
If cockroaches were evil and crazy.
Yeah, you're on vermin duty.
Are they not? Cockroaches?
Carrying
No,
on.
they're indestructible. That's what they are.
Carrying on with what she was saying. She goes on to say, the Darrow in particular is named Drogi. He has recently shown a large presence in the Dark Lake district of the city, the district you'll have been escorted through on your way here.
Stuff off my desk.
It seems to be stealing and causing general nuisance to the city. However, he is quick and able to avoid my guard, even my guard that wait invisible for him. He seems to know where they are and seems to know where to run to be away from them. I don't know why, I don't know how. However, perhaps a external team would be more able to capture him. Perhaps it'd be something he wouldn't expect, so to speak.
You really want him captured, or do you want to just have him killed?
Killed, captured, put out of our misery. That is the extent of the contract. We have no qualms as to how you do it, as long as you do it. As long as you just get rid of him. That said, should you manage to capture him, he may hold information towards one or more of the other factions that cause us trouble in this city, and if that is the case, if he does provide information, perhaps we would be willing to reward that as well. Other information we have on him, we know that he is homed in the West Cleft district.
West Cleft.
If needed, I can provide you with a basic map of the city, indicating the areas you will need, nothing more, nothing less. To tell the truth, I feel that this Droki is linked with something much more sinister than simple law breaking, and as such, we need to deal with this threat sooner rather than later. I do believe, when I say this, I give you all this knowledge freely on the chance that it helps in your own investigations and capture of the individual. I believe that he is possibly involved in a conspiracy with the Council of Savants, the Darrow's leading ruling council within the city.
Of Savants? Savants?
Yes.
Savants.
Savants. That's the word. And it's entirely possible that conspiracy even runs as deep as our own clan lairds. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that properly. It should be clan lords, maybe, but
how do you spell it?
Lairds.
Then it's lairds. Yeah.
Is that actually a word? Okay.
That's actually a word.
So, okay, I've never heard that, but
like a dragon's lair.
So, and should you be able to provide them with information and such of all this, perhaps that would be well, that'll be obviously useful to the city, and I'm sure the Deep King would be grateful. The second one.
Sorry, can I make a check on the Deep King?
Roll a history check. I'll allow this since you have a dwarven background. Pardon me?
Do I have history taking bets?
Pretty sure you don't.
Yes.
I do not.
Dang it! No! My children's lunch money, gone!
3.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
It's probably Deep King. It's probably a surface dweller, maybe a female. It's really hard to tell from the way from the words she gave you.
Female. What do you believe this council is up to?
I don't know. That is that.
That is why you want
the information I have at myself is at the very best, vague, and as such, that is all I can offer you. Any other questions?
I snore.
Second task.
The second task is more personal one. As you have already seen, it would seem. It seems that the Stone Guard is becoming corrupt. This is unique, to say the least. I'm sure you surface dwellers have no respect for us Dwagar, but let me tell you, we have always been a city of order. Blackmail, random beatings, these are not things that happen. And it's not simply staying within the Stone Guard either. I've noticed strange activity within the city. A strange madness that seems to be settling over the city as a whole.
Madness.
I need a case, however, to be... I need information, however, so I can build a case on this as a whole. Figure out where it is all coming from. Are you willing to... Are you just saying this over and over?
Yeah. I'm actually like looking down deep in thought here, like madness. That's kind of why
is that broken? Why is he repeating it?
I'm just like madness.
Yes.
This
that's what I said.
This council. They don't happen to like worship any. I'm just throwing something out there. Say a demon lord.
The Darrow worship all manner of scumful, blasphemous beings. I have no personal knowledge of their religious pursuits myself. Perhaps that would be something you could investigate yourself if you feel that's a lead.
I'd rather not. The last group that worship demon lords.
I'll certainly check it out.
Actually, with that, Renman, she kind of gestures to the guard behind her, and he does move over and actually unties the cloth in your mouth, so you can now speak freely. And actually,
thank you very much.
For about 6 hours, pressing quite tightly on your chin. Yeah, it's sore.
Renman went to jail and got lockjaw from it.
God damn it.
Almost.
Does anyone remember where Skriff said Yognu was?
Oh, no, I don't. I've forgotten even that thing even existed.
I didn't give you a specific location.
You might not have.
Wait, where who was?
Yognu.
Yunogu.
Yeah, sure.
Yogurt new.
I will say, everybody who's a part of that conversation can just roll an intelligence check if they want to try and remember the information. Bearing in mind that you are all fairly new to at least that part of the Underdark, so I'm not going to just say straight out you remember.
Here's a question.
Wait, isn't it on the...
Oh, 23.
Nice.
Isn't it on the map? Not the map, the instructions.
No.
Intelligence 1.
I thought she had, like, careful here, this is where Yognu was.
I think she told you, careful here, this is where Yognu is, but she didn't actively...
Oh dear. I certainly don't know.
Okay.
Right, I don't think she did. I'm going to say she didn't.
I can't remember myself, so.
I fully can't, honestly.
And to be
What
fair,
is
I
my
imagine we've been traveling
intelligence?
Either way.
Intelligence is 10. So
Either
0.
way, Anwar has eidetic memory, apparently, and is able to completely remember this. However, did you actually ask this question out loud, Cole, or?
I actually probably would, yes.
In that case, Anwar, you do remember exactly where it was. Like, using the crystal cavern as a reference point, you're able to you close an eye to kind of think, staring at the wall, and just kind of backtrack through the tunnels. Like, assuming you wanted to give that information.
Excuse me.
Yes.
So yeah, you're able to give that off. She just she says, "Yognu, I don't know this being what."
Can someone get the piece of parchment like there? Like, I'm assuming I can't get it out of wherever I put it.
She gestures again over at the guard, who kind of awkwardly moves over and starts fumbling in your shirt, and eventually pulls out this piece of parchment.
He eventually pulls out
parchment, which he passes to Captain Blackskull. She takes it, reads through it.
I'll say, Anwar, can you point out where on the list of directions it is?
It's right there. That one.
You go for it. It's not directly on the directions. It's like a case of, at this point you would have to turn off and probably go a distance away from that. However, this was a week ago at least that this was true. Again, though, she looks at it and says, "Okay, I've seen it. You've shown me this. Again, I don't know who this Yognu is."
Is that near here, relatively speaking?
That's about 10 days' journey away. Looking at these instructions and from my own knowledge of the tunnels, and that's about how long it took you guys to get here. Bear in mind.
Yeah, that's fine.
A short journey.
So, what's this other task?
It was corruption in the Stone Guard.
Find corruption.
Yes.
I need enough information on corruption so I can build a case and try and work out where it's coming from. If you can find any sources of corruption within the city, I need you to document them, bring them to me.
One thing I would like to make clear: I am not side of the Drow.
She looks at you. Roll persuasion check.
Okay.
Don't get a no one.
12.
It's like saying, like, here's my girlfriend. She doesn't have herpes. No one asked. What? Why are you being so defensive?
Probably because that's why we got arrested, Mike, if you were paying attention.
She didn't mention that, though.
And yeah, Matt's spelling of it is correct. I think it's because
the reason why the guards actually brought us into jail is because they're like, yeah, these people working with the Drow. She probably just got told that that's why we got here. So I'm just like, yeah. So I just want to make sure that the reason why you're probably told why we were brought here, that's not true. I just don't want my reputation to be damaged, Mike. Thank you.
For what it's worth, in reference to what you two were just talking about, I actually kind of like that you guys are writing stuff down from pronunciations, because your characters, it's the first time you're hearing it as well, so it is entirely possible that you hear it and then like you would pronounce it how you thought you heard it. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's fine, done until we get to Bloopine.
Oh god, let's not go down that route.
Hang on, wait, what the shit was this one?
Just loop it up.
Well, I'll hopefully say if you misunderstand some or mishear some, don't.
It's fine. You gave me a not gibberish word to go along with it. That was the sea mother.
Say, always feel free to ask the to clarify. But I do like the idea that you're going back to these things after several sessions and it's Yognu. Like that is something to me that is part of the characters. It is. You know, you're not perfect. You've not got eidetic memory. It makes sense. There might be a bit.
I have eidetic memory. I think you'll find.
Apparently you do. Apparently you do. Anyway, she holds out the contracts and says, "But these are not complete. What is it? What is your purpose in our city? What are your objectives here?"
We just came here for supplies.
And for what it's worth, she just ignores your statement about the Drow.
We just came here for supplies. We're trying to find our way back to the surface. Or I'm trying to find my way back to the surface. They're trying to find their way back to the surface.
We can provide maps. We can... Well, how about this? Complete one of these, and we will provide you with...
$1 million.
350 gold worth of equipment per person, included in the contract. Complete the other one, and we will provide you with maps, routes, and information that we know of that will aid you in your journey towards the surface lands.
That sounds like an excellent trade.
Complete both, and we will allow you free exit from the city. And she kind of smiles at this last one.
I'm going to immediately say, what is the price for leaving the city?
Oh, sorry, you misunderstand me. What I mean to say is, until you complete both, you are bound to the city. My guards have all been sent descriptions of you, already preemptive of this meeting, and will deny you any exit via the gates. We will also return your dwarven companions to you.
So it's more a case of we have to do both.
Yes.
Not.
I mean, I was being coy about it, but yes.
One, and she shows you and she kind of branches the first parchment forwards, which was the one where you'd be finding Droki. This, you get equipment worth 350 gold each. This, and she gestures the one, information. And both, and she gestures with both, freedom.
Well, we need all of these things, just as it seems you desperately need what's on these maps, on these parchments, so I accept.
I continue sleeping.
I accept. Though, can I ask a further question?
If it aids in your investigations, then go ahead.
Ask about our equipment.
I was actually about to do that.
No, there's that as well. But I'm going to ask, has there been disturbances on the Dark Lake?
None that I can remember of recently.
Not in the past, and I give time period since...
Even as you're saying this, she just kind of starts ignoring you, and she actually moves back to her desk and starts rifling through some parchments.
Can I insight check that?
Go for it.
Oh, and I do have insight, of course.
Have I done a long rest yet?
Not yet, Mike, sorry.
Dang it.
12. You just get the idea that you asking that has sparked, like, she thought for a moment and then she realised something, and you guess she's digging through parchments and stuff relevant to the question.
Something. She's not just brushing me off.
No. This isn't a get out my office, we're done now thing. She looks through them. A few minutes later, she comes back up and says, there have been reports of less Kyotoan vessels on the lake. Normally, some of the expeditionary boats upon the lake skirmish or at least encounter Kyotoan vessels. However, we've not had reports of any for a few weeks now.
You've not had anyone come from there, or any of your men go there and return, have you?
No, we've had our vessels go missing on the lake, but that's not unusual. There's a lot of nasty things down there.
It's fair.
I will offer you this bit of information freely then. The city is gone. Do not waste your efforts going there.
The city? What city?
The Kruatoan one.
Which Kyotoans?
Is that Sloopledoop?
Sloopledop?
Sloopledop.
Sloopledine.
We had no business going to that fish city anyway. It'd be better for us all if it's wiped out the tunnels.
How convenient.
I won't shed any tear for them.
That is your derogative.
So, how soon do we get our equipment so we can start these missions?
Once you have all signed these contracts and can ensure me that you'll be able to keep your companion under control,
well,
I'll have my men return your equipment, all of which will be returned to you in the manner that in the same manner that it was taken.
Well, one of it's got a bit of phlegm on it.
And you will be escorted off the premises. However, again, I feel I must remind you: do not talk about this with anybody, not even another member of the Stone Guard. Only talk of it to me. For what it's worth, I realise that may cause issues with members of the guard, and as such, I offer you these. And she goes to the desk where you can see there has actually been just like a pile. What you thought at first was just a pile of cloth, but it's actually she pulls it open and it's just it's a bunch of emblems within like wrapped in cloth, and she
Stone Guard emblems.
They are the pickaxe, the hammer on the kite shield. She passes. So each of you have one. This is everybody who's there, so not Kamar won't have one. And says, keep these hidden. Use them only to show that you have business with the Stone Guard, and at that only at times where you need. Is that understood?
Yes.
Very well.
Then sign and name and date, and she puts these contracts out.
What is the date?
What is the date? Yes.
Fuck! I should have said that.
I actually ask it. What's the date? We
have been down there for a while.
We've been down here a while. We don't know what the day is.
We've been down here for over a month.
Of days before that.
She looks at the wall, realizes that she hadn't actually bought an up-to-date calendar this year, flicks her fingers. I guess we'll have to miss the date this once, so we can make do with a signature and a name.
Formalities.
Formalities. We Dwagar, we don't dwell on formalities.
I don't know the date. My one weakness.
I can't remember for the life of me the Faerun.
We've caused a paradox.
Sure it actually doesn't matter.
It doesn't. She gives you, for the sake of things, we'll say she gives you a date.
Yeah.
You recognise it. You actually recognise that if that date is factual, you have probably been in the Underdark itself for closing in on a month now.
It's the date of date. Date.
The date is 7.
Yeah, I'll sign the contracts.
It is actually the 9th day.
Yeah.
And
makes it weird the date is 7.
Yes.
As I'm signing, I'll just ask about holy symbols, specifically. Not ones not of the 4 that were mentioned when we entered.
Why do you require such a thing?
The cleric.
I am a pious golem.
Piousness will get you nothing in this city.
Isn't it pious? Carry on.
Does your symbol offer you any strength other than simple strength of faith? You blasphemous god.
It is certainly possible, though. If it would arouse suspicion, I am sure my god would understand me foregoing it while we were in the city.
Putting it simply, yes or no answer. Does your god offer you magical aid with a symbol?
Certainly.
In that case, having a symbol on you will definitely be of use to the tasks I've set before you. As such, I would suggest you do. I don't remember any holy symbols in the equipment we gave you, however, and I doubt you'll be able to find one down here.
I can make one.
Well, that is very fortunate then, isn't it?
Has to be taken to a forge.
In that
I'm
case,
not going to do that. Don't get me murdered.
in that case, I would have you understand that showing such item will likely get you into much trouble, possibly more trouble than those emblems can get you out of. As such, keep it hidden and only use it when you need to.
I just kind of nod and say I shall be discreet with it.
All right. Escort them down, get their equipment, get their companion, get the vicious one.
I do have...
This, the other guard, the single guard now, just kind of walks up to you and gestures for you to leave the room.
I do have something to say about that one. We can't keep him under our complete control.
They are, for what it's worth, they're escorting you, all of you, out the office now.
I shuffle along.
Yeah. For what it's worth, they are kicking you anyway.
Shuffle, 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 shuffle.
He does. They keep the chains on you as long as you're in the dungeon. You get down to the bottom layer where the cells are.
Oh, okay.
They go into the
I get ignored then, I guess.
cell where Kamar is. And he had this guard. He's the only one that's been escorting you, by the way. You have no clue how many other ones are around you, possibly, but this is the only one that has been escorting you visibly. He unlocks the door, opens it, and says, "Convince your friend. Ask him. Ask him if he can be of. Find out if he can be of aid to your journey, or if he's going to simply rot in the cell."
Can do.
I snore.
For what it's worth, Eldith and Flint both still unconscious.
I'm not going to talk to him. I can't convince that man.
I am at least 2 levels more unconscious than they are.
If you would like.
Well, actually, no, you're not unconscious. You are sleeping voluntarily. They are unconscious involuntarily. What are you saying, Matt?
Assuming I would believe at least that Kamar is currently actually unconscious, and if I see Cobalt beginning to approach him, I would put a hand on his as high as I as high as I can reach.
Count on the
And
hip.
it's like, assuming he's going to use his magic, say, as far as things go, your magic's probably going to be a lot more useful out there than mine is, and I'm going to approach Kamar, sigh, and cast Cure Wounds on him.
As he's doing this, what's worth, Cobalt, you did see that Kamar was awake before you left the cell. He was awake from the unconsciousness, and then kind of almost in protest.
Yeah.
Protest.
Almost in defiance of the guards. He kind of he just went to sleep.
I'll just say.
I do also need to sleep. It's the only way I'm going to get rid of exhaustion.
You do, but you can be woken up, is what I'm saying. Like, it's not like you're unconscious.
Just as Adam was approaching, I'll go, that's not necessary. It's more his mind that is tired than his body.
You say, while I'm all lumpy, with footprints embedded in my face.
I'll actually just straight up say, like, he doesn't look hurt.
It's not that bad.
Like, on a scale of 1 to Kamar's hit points, he's at Kamar's hit points.
For what it's worth, whilst they're talking to this, Kamar, you're having quite a... Well, no, it was basically just your normal dream of scum creatures, you beating them down and killing them. Dawn bringing out. This time, grey dwarfs. It was good. However, your dream was being interrupted by voices, seemingly...
It's about normal.
Reaching into your unconscious mind and dragging you from the sweet, sweet dream you were having.
I'll shuffle over, I suppose. Shuffle.
I'll be back in just a moment.
Right. Sorry, we'll be ending the session soon as well. I know we've run over, but I figured we may as well get this whole prison scene.
If we're gonna be finishing soon, anyways, I'll
just kind of
won't be long.
Very gently say, "Kamar, wake up."
General, like rolling, I'm like, huh? What? Do I bother you when you're sleeping?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Sit up.
I have
groan as I sit up and like lean against the wall.
As you do this, you kind of suddenly feel a little like you remember being tied to Cobalt.
Yeah.
You suddenly feel like a weight in a different direction to what you expect, and you're just kind of suddenly taken aback, and you kind of have to reshift as you realise there's actually an unconscious dwarf tied to you.
Okay, so I don't do that then. I'm like, well, that's new.
You can shift her. Like, it takes you by surprise.
I mean, you know who it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, you recognise her.
Just look at Eldith, I think it is, and then it's like, oh, that's new. I'm just leaning against the wall then.
I'll just kind of hand on shoulder, like, there, buddy. It'll be fine.
Everything hurts. Why would you do that?
Like, it's a gentle thing, just like.
It's still
the captain of the guard, I believe. Was she captain of the guard?
She was just
captain?
as Captain Blackskull, and she seemed to hold respect here, but
I say Captain Blackskull wishes to speak with you. She has things she wishes to discuss. I'm sure some sort of agreement can be made.
Well, there's only one agreement that I make with these sorts of creatures.
Now, friend, that's not going to help you get your beloved sword back. It's not going to get us out of here.
I don't know, served me well so far. He says while 4 of his limbs chained together, chained to another person, battered and bruised.
Just
like, yeah, what's wrong?
Have you looked at yourself recently, friend?
Friend, you can't look at yourself. That's an oxymoron.
Very well. Look down.
I look down. Are all my limbs intact?
yes. Also, you're looking at yourself.
Oh, shit. You got me there. When you're right, you're right. I don't know what to say.
She wishes to talk. I assure you, she means you no harm if you mean her no harm.
But I mean her loads of harm.
That's what I was just thinking. But I mean her much harm. Does that mean she means me much harm?
No. Like, the point is, if he doesn't start shit, she's not going to start shit.
Yeah, I understand.
The problem is that he's going to start shit.
Yes, I know, but the point is I'm trying to make it very clear, explicitly clear here.
In my opinion,
Don't start shit.
In my opinion, I have never started shit.
You always start shit.
Wow, that's rude. That's rude to insinuate such a thing.
It's not insinuation, really.
What was your religious order? The order of shit starting?
It may as well be. Just
Is your god a god of shit starting?
Taken literally, that's a very, very medically wrong order. They just start.
In that case, I say, I'll hear what the creature has to say.
maybe don't call her creature.
Is she not a creature? What manner of abomination is she? He. I don't know if I know gender.
I did say
is
she.
it? It.
I did say she, to be fair.
I say it then.
I mean, maybe I'm being very offensive by calling her she.
Yeah, I'm not assuming a gender.
It's like we, ma'am. It's like I'm a man. Oh.
Yeah,
sorry.
Kamar's the good guy.
I'll just say, hear her out, listen to what she has to say, and we may, before long, be on our way.
I agree to hear the person out. Hear the creature out.
As you kind of finish this conversation, you can see the guard is basically patiently waiting outside, waiting for this to waiting for you to let him know what's happening.
While they're having that conversation there, I'll turn to the guard and say, "Hey, I don't suppose you'll allow me to kill that drow over there, will you? While this is going on."
Do any of us hear this?
You're stood nearby, so yes, you do.
There's a slow turn off.
He just slowly turns his head towards you.
To be fair, though, can I just point out here, Anwar actually doesn't know who that is.
I don't know who that is. What I do know is that
he met Sareth.
I did. Yes, I did. Yes,
just there.
Sareth and Topsy were there when me and Turvy and
Anwar fell through the collapse with Renman.
So I have met Sareth before.
They were still with Sareth, Topsy, and Papido momentarily. It's a very brief glimpse of Papido.
I saw Papido running away, charred.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
So yes, you did hear this, man. You can see the guard just kind of slowly turning his head towards Renman.
It's like,
and I'm like,
I'd start be looking at me like,
Brendan,
that's
what?
a no. Okay.
Roll a persuasion check.
Oh, okay.
I can't even say this again to you.
9.
Twice in one night. Don't get a nat 1. Okay, we're good. He just turns away from you.
Oh, blanked.
So,
oh, thank God.
Brendan, what?
Oh, I don't like him very much.
I've heard of worse reasons.
Try and kill you.
Well, that's good then.
I mean, really, I'm more surprised the Rhaegar just didn't immediately go, yeah, sure, you hold him down and I'll slit his throat. Like,
I
I'd have thought they'd be all about that.
Well, considering the whole thing that we're supposed to be doing at the moment.
I know.
Sorry, I was doing things in background.
I guess I will gesture to the guard then.
As you kind of have this conversation, you do notice, seemingly trying to be a bit subtle about it, Turvey has just kind of moved towards the cell that Sareth is in.
I'm gonna stab him.
And he has just kind of gone to the bars. He's still close enough that it's not like he's trying to make a run for it or anything, so none of the guards have kind of interfered in this. As far as you can tell, again, there could be invisible stuff happening. And it seems like he's talking into the cell at Sareth.
Okay.
You know,
I'll just sort of turn to the guard and it's like, hey, are we like not allowed to talk to the people in the cell? I'll just sort of like yes with my head over there.
Why are you ratting out your own team? You've done it so many times.
Roll a persuasion check, Laurie. Don't get in that one.
We're painting more and more and more of like just a big bullseye on your face right now.
I just love how he goes out of his way to say that he's not a drow spy or anything like that, and then he's like, "Can we kill that drow?" Like, no, that guy's trying to kill him. Like, what?
I didn't say that.
Why are you obsessed with the drow?
I didn't say anyone was trying to kill him at all.
Again, you asked if you could kill the drow.
Yeah, I did.
Anyway,
I didn't say anyone else was trying to kill him, so I don't know where Mike got that from.
That's exactly what a drow spy would say.
Dwagar looks at you again. Again, his head just turns slowly to look at you, then kind of keeps going past to look at Turvey, and he shouts, "Oi! Get back to the group." Turvey just kind of looks over his shoulder, hesitates a few seconds, and then moves back. He's kind of arms folded, looking quite tense and nervous. And
I gesture for the guard.
he turns around, steps in. What's the deal then?
He shall go talk with your captain.
That wasn't the deal. The deal. What you have all signed a contract. You are all responsible for him. He's not going anywhere near the captain.
Oh, we're allowed to discuss that here.
Yes, that was the plan. You are all in charge of him. He doesn't get a signature.
Oh, he doesn't sign anything.
Neat.
No.
No, but
I thought we had to get him to sign things.
No, if he does anything, it's on us rather than on him.
Yeah, but I still thought he had to sign things.
No.
The captain thought it would be more prudent to for his punishment to be shared.
They don't. He may have.
No,
he
I
may
got
be.
that part.
He may be like physically strong, but I think the idea is that he doesn't have the mental capacity to be able to sign a contract. So we're based. He's not entirely sort of compass mentis. So
may I ask what a contract is?
The idea is we're like his
legal. You made with your god.
We're his legal guardians.
What the gnome said was discussed, admittedly, quite literally with the captain. She did. That was a point brought forward.
My apologies. There was talk of madness and madness.
Tell me you've got some of that madness as well.
Again, the guard kind of slow turns to look at Renlin, then Anwar.
Like, what have we agreed to?
My broken hand for a minute. Madness.
It's like all of the guards are now thinking, what bill of goods have we bought right now?
Sorry, what?
Yes, they are.
Hey, well, if they just let us come into the city, buy some stuff, then leave, this wouldn't have happened.
They have a buyer's remorse.
My apologies. Kamar, we're going to do something.
Oh.
I'm actually going to turn to the rest of the party and go, do we tell him?
Well, I'll just say, well, technically, it's a method of purification in the city, so I don't see why he wouldn't be against it.
I have no doubt he wouldn't be against it. However, given part of the clause was staying quiet about it, you'll forgive me if I want to ensure he can't talk about it.
So, if you don't tell me I need to stay quiet, I won't stay quiet.
Also, if you
this
don't
is
tell him
kind of-
actually what it is we're doing, we just ask him to help at each stage of what we do, then he can't tell
basically-
anyone because he
we
won't
just-
Like,
know
guys,
what to
I'm
say.
right here. I can hear you.
Yeah,
Yes, we know.
I'll just kind of... I'll sign and say, okay. We've been given a couple of tasks. Once we've completed them both, we are free to leave the city, but not until we complete those tasks.
Also, with each task, we get some
Okay,
equipment
I'm
and
gonna
maps
pop
and
off on the
things,
website.
which we will need to leave the city and reach the surface.
What kind of tasks?
Well, depending on how we wish to go about them, as Renlin has said, excuse me, it could be viewed as purification. Is it just that one Dwagar guard in here?
As far as you can see.
I'll just sort of look at him and say, are we okay to discuss the specifics here?
The guard thinks for a second. Then says, has he agreed without hearing the specifics?
Do you agree, Kamal?
No.
No.
Why do you think I'd agree without specifics when everyone else has specifics?
I don't, but...
Okay, out of character here, the really annoying thing is there's a very obvious thing that my character needs to say right now, which would be just to leave him in the cell. But I also don't want to say that because that leaves Mike out of like the next God knows how many sessions.
Yeah, but the thing
It also
is,
powers down your party hugely.
That's the thing.
I know that too. It's like
Yay, I'm useful.
it's like everything he's doing right now, which is in character, so I'm not criticizing him for that. It's just the fact that everything he's doing is like, why don't we just leave him in the cell, you know? But I also don't, out of character, don't want to leave him in the cell.
Like, realistically, if it's because of role playing, you guys can shaft me over as much as you want, because I'll do the same thing to you. On the other hand, Kamar has no reason to ever agree to anything, especially anything proposed by any of the races he considers lesser, without any details involved. It's just not happening.
The Dwagar growls in a bit of annoyance and says, "Follow me," and leads you up. Moves to go out of the cell, like waiting for you all to come out. Including, actually, sorry, no. He goes in. He actually unbuckles the chain on your belt, Kamar. Meaning you've got free movement. Actually bending over and presenting the back of his head as well. For what it's worth, if that means anything.
Oh, you temptation. You
Oh dear.
He lifts his head back up.
Being nice.
Carry on.
And you do. There is now just the metal belt has come completely off you, just so it's now dangling on the floor, kind of connected to Eldef awkwardly. He then moves out of the cell and kind of stands by the door, holding it, waiting for you two to leave as well.
I leave.
Can I do a perception check to see if there's any others invisible people?
Roll up.
I'm assuming there is, but perception. That's a +2. Yeah, there's none.
Yep, absolutely none. Absolutely none at all. And then, except for that one. Where did that come from?
I think to myself how foolish it is that he came at me without backup. But then for now, walk behind him. Or wherever I'm supposed to go.
He lets you out, shuts the door and locks it behind you, like as you've all got out. And then leads you, again, up to the same floor that Captain Blackskull's office was on. He leads you to a different door, however, escorts you inside. And you can see this is basically a storage room. It's a door into a room which has a kind of cage around the door itself. So a kind of second security layer inside.
Mm-hmm.
Opens that door, lets you in, and you can actually see your own equipment kind of lying around the room. He goes to a book and actually, sorry, inside the room you can actually see there is a Dwagar kind of sat at a desk with a big book and a quill and ink pen. The guard goes over to him for a moment, says something to him, and that guy then goes outside, like moves past you all and shuts the door behind him, leaving you all in the room, seemingly with just you and the guard. And the guard says, "Speak details here."
I'll just start collecting all my equipment.
Are you still shackled?
Yeah, I think.
That's
we're still shackled.
Yeah, we're still shackled,
I'm just
aren't we?
going to kind of... do we recognise this guard?
You are all still shackled. This is the guard that's been escorting you since the captain. Like, this is the guard that you met in the captain's room. You hadn't seen him before, but he has been escorting you the whole way.
But he was in the captain's room while she was going through the details of everything with us.
Yeah, so he knows what you know.
He knows everything.
I'll just kind of go, okay, very well. We've been given 2 tasks. One is to deal with a...
Mike's made this session take a lot longer than we would have otherwise done.
Was it?
Yeah.
Because now we have to explain everything to him again.
Brokey. Apparently he is causing issues of some sort. Did she actually specify what issues? I don't think she did.
She did go into details, however. You've got what you wrote down or remember.
He's been stealing, and they worry that it may be part of something bigger, the Council of Savants.
Yeah, I've got the Council of Savants.
Okay.
So I'll say that. The other is she believes there is corruption within her ranks, some of which we have already uncovered through the gentleman that let us into the city, or met us at the gate.
And we are to hunt these people down and kill them. These creatures, yes?
We can certainly kill this creature, yeah.
The Darrow would be better captured alive, but if necessary, we should kill. But if we can bring it back alive for information, that would be preferable.
There is something else she mentioned, of which I think is of greater concern. She did mention there appears to be a madness in this city.
Yes, of course. Considering the creatures that inhabit this city, that's not entirely surprising.
The Dwagar growls.
I kind of
Growl
say,
back.
I am more concerned about the creature that may not currently be in this city. Or rather, one that is already here that they don't know about. Similar to that was at Sloopledoop.
That was the Demogorgon, wasn't it?
That was the Demogorgon.
Limogorgon.
I wait for a moment, and then I'm silent for a moment. Like, you can see the gears turning in my head as I'm thinking the whole prospect over. And I kind of convincingly say, yeah, okay, I'm in. And unshackle me to the guard.
I'll just say, good. We are not allowed to discuss any of this outside of, well, her office, I suppose.
I then again gesture to the Dwagar and say, unshackle me.
You'll be unshackled when we leave the dungeons.
We will get all our equipment back. She's told us that.
I can see it right there, right?
I know.
He gestures for you to take it now. Like, in your hands with your hands as they are, but...
It's more just
I'll attempt to start picking it up in my hands then.
Equipment back, like...
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then I'll collect my equipment as I can, and I'll head to the door and just sort of wait expectantly.
And
I'll take my few bits of equipment.
As you do, as you're kind of going about this, he does hold up a hand and kind of shouts at the door. A word none of you recognize.
Is it Dwarvish?
It is not. It is not. Or at least it's not a Dwarvish word that you recognize. It's Dwarven in sound. You kind of get the feeling it's a name.
Fair enough.
He just shouts, "Ballin'!" At which point, the other dwarf comes back in, moves over, gets behind the book, and they basically put you through a process of like checking everything you pick up to make sure it's linked to the description of you they've got in this book. And it is, for what it's worth, everything you have is there. and everything is
They're just being very precise.
Yeah, they're making sure you're not taking anything that's not yours. Is anybody doing anything like counter to this?
Sleight of handing.
And there is lots of stuff there.
I'm going to take absolutely everything that's mine.
Me too.
I tell him once again to unshackle me.
So you just stand there, not even getting your equipment or anything. Just
Oh yeah.
He turns to you again and says, "When you leave the dungeons."
Come on, friends. Just please. We're nearly out of here. You can be reunited with your beloved sword.
Unshackle me.
I don't like where this is going.
He looks at you and then looks at the rest of the group. Are you still sure? Are you sure you can keep this one under control in our city?
I'm not entirely sure we can.
Kamar, if you don't listen to the lovely Dwagar here, you will be forced to remain here until these tasks are complete. Think of all the good you won't get to fulfill stuck inside your cell.
I once again say, unshackle me.
You'll be unshackled when you leave the dungeons.
Oh no.
I start taking steps back to the edge of the room.
Kamar, don't do this. Just don't do this.
Just don't.
Just don't.
Just don't.
Why do you wish to be unshackled?
I've grown
now?
just about.
Why is it so important?
You know, I've had up to here with your bullshit, but like where my hands above my head, but it's probably coming up to like your nipples.
Oh, so actually not all the way. Nice. It is important because if we are to be bound to such decisions, then it would be important that we would do this on equal terms, don't you think?
No, I don't think that.
It's not very difficult.
As this discussion is happening, by the way, Stool just kind of moves up next to you and kind of looks up at you, and he's not really looking at you. He's still got the cap over his face, kind of thing, but still that kind of not sure what's going to happen, looking up at you out of curiosity.
I'll just say, Kamar, your actions have consequences for all of us here, including the little one, including our companions in the cells still.
Don't be so pathetic. All you need to do is walk to the edge of the dungeons, then they'll unshackle you.
Did you just call me pathetic?
Fortunately, yes, I did, because I have to roleplay this, and I don't like where this is going at all.
At this part, I wish I'd taken, like,
Hold person.
No, I've got hold person. I can't cast hold person. There's calm emotions, that was it. I wish I'd got that prepared.
That'd be the perfect thing to have Kamar in your party.
I legit thought about making that a spell I prepared instead of...
When I have command, but I can't cast that either, because I've got shackles on.
Oh, that's funny. I can.
I've got command. You don't need... command's just verbal.
Oh, yeah, it is actually. Oh, yeah, I could actually just use command.
I don't have it prepared, sadly. Otherwise, I would just use it on this guy.
I do, because I think that's actually the one I took instead.
So what's happening?
What?
The Vagar's making no moves. He's giving you the time to get your equipment. He's being patient, but he's not making any moves to be unshackling either.
Okay. In that case, I take a huge intake of breath.
I would like to point out that if it looks like he is getting ready to do anything stupid, I have actually had up to here with this bullshit right now. Like up to here.
So that's like up to here.
Sure. I pull out a dagger, basically stand in front of him. It's just a dagger, but it is a fucking stop. Like I've had up to here. Stop.
Well, I'll continue what I was saying. I take a deep breath.
He is a big problem, isn't he?
And then I exhale and relax. I walk over to where my stuff is and I start picking up all my stuff.
The first thing you see as your stuff is the gilded patterned sword hilt, and upon touching it, the connection is restored. And you can feel the elation of Dawnbringer as once more you were together, and the happy humming that goes in her head along with "Yay, you're back! You're back! Thank you."
It's like, oh god, the noises! Stop! Shut up!
The voices, they never leave.
But they did leave, and you brought it back. There's a few seconds of just, being happy to be back with that, and then you can start picking up the rest of your gear. Taking what you can. It's more of a, like backpacks especially, it's kind of just holding onto them awkwardly right now, because you're a bit too shackled to kind of put them on. Yep. So that's all done. Once you've all got your gear, the guard escorts you up back to the main floor and leads you to the door, where you're all unshackled, and the guard says, "One last chance. Anything you do you need? Anything you think you need to know?"
Yeah, I do. And then I run over and punch Renlin in the face.
Seeing him run over to me, obviously aggressively, I cast command. I say, "Halt!"
I kind of choose to just ignore all that.
So that's a wisdom save DC 14.
I don't know who I should be rooting for because I hate both of them.
Will our companions who are remaining here be informed at least somewhat of what is going on? That we have not been set free to abandon them.
They'll be informed of what they need to be informed of. We will tell them that should their companions come through, that they'll be safe, but nothing more.
That is sufficient.
I rolled a 6. I'm pretty sure that worked.
You need to roll me initiative, both you do. Renlin and Kamar.
Okay.
20.
I can't roll initiative, so you've won. There you go.
So
can't roll initiative.
Roll me a wisdom save, Mike.
I already did. It was a 6, unless you want me to re-roll it.
No, that's fine.
Yep.
So you move towards Renlin. Renlin sees the aggressive actions, and immediately just stop for 6 seconds, and then carry on towards him.
Well, okay. I'll still get a chance to say something.
Yeah.
I'll just say, look, I see where this is going, and the only way we're going to get through this properly is if we work as a team.
Now, let's not be hasty, at which point I punch him in the face.
Well, roll an attack.
We're going to hit you once, you'll be fine. How do you roll a punch?
It's just proficiency and strength.
Okay, so that's plus 5. $19.
He does actually manage to hit me.
Yep. So that's 1d4.
No, it's just your strength mod.
Oh, so it's just 3 damage.
It's 1 plus strength.
1 plus strength. So yeah, you take 4 damage as you are clocked around the face by Kamar's
non-lethal damage.
There is no
I didn't say non-lethal.
This.
Oh, is it not?
No. It's just that you can choose to make a attack non-lethal when you hit them.
Which, for the record, I didn't. But
when you are going to knock them below 0, you can choose to make it non-lethal.
If I had somehow knocked you below 0 with a single punch, there's no way I wouldn't make that lethal. Just because.
That's if your cheeks were hurting from the gag, now they're really hurting. And you're pretty sure your jaw was knocked a little out of place. Like there's a clicking sound in there now when you move your jaw a little.
I don't know who I should be rooting for.
I shout at which point, as he recoils, like holding his face, I shout, "Betray us again, and next time it'll be the blade."
Also, for what it's worth, the Dwagar guard has just been standing watching this patiently. He's not reacting to it.
What betrayal was that? I have not betrayed you.
The point when you surrendered.
That wasn't betrayal. That was just a logical reaction.
Kamar disagrees. And to
like
hurry things along,
just says that.
I'm just trying to hurry things along at this point.
That's appreciated.
Because there's no way I'd remember to do that at the end of last session, which is why I did it now.
That's fair.
In the beginning of next session, sorry.
Did you have any questions? I'll ask this now because again, this is something that it'll be easier to remember stuff now than it will be at the start of next session. Any questions to the Dwagar guard before you go?
Where do we go?
where do we go now?
For what?
Where's the direction?
There was the.
Is there a place we can rest?
Galbraun's Lair. It's the only inn in the city that deals with foreigners.
Is that the tavern across the bridge?
No, that's the Shadow Spire. You'll be able to get service there, but it doesn't do rooms.
Doesn't do rooms.
It doesn't do rooms. Galbraun's Lair. It's just down there, around the big stalagmite to the right. Head that way. It's signposted easily enough. You should see it in the Blade Bazaar. Anything else?
Is there anywhere we can get rooms?
Yeah, Galbraun's Lair. That's what you said.
I thought you said.
No, that's the one in. That's the one in the city that does do rooms. But Laurie asked about the tavern.
Sorry, the tavern.
The island, the little one on the island.
It was. We'd find Darrow in the Dark Lake. Was it just West Cliff? The Dark Lake district.
Dark Lake district. West Cleft, sorry.
I tell the well, I say that if you want me to be in fighting force, then I'm gonna need a lot of rest. I'm still, mechanically, I'm still working off 2 levels of exhaustion.
The guard says, "We can be patient. We don't care how long it takes you to do all this. Just know that you're not leaving the city until it's done."
Well, it's
We will need a bit of time to.
It's late in the day, is it not?
Out anyway.
That is up to you. You have you can deal with your own preparations and such as you see fit. As I say, we are patient. Yeah, the contracts are signed. We'll see you when the jobs are done.
I
kind of opens the door and gestures for you to leave.
I suggest we find this place to rest. That can be our quarters for these missions.
For what it's worth, is there any sort of do the general shops deal with outsiders as well?
The Blade Bazaar has plenty of shops that deal with outsiders. Outsiders have shops there that deal with city dwellers. It's the Dark Lake district as a whole. So the entire district gated off that borders the Dark Lake. That is the only place that surface dwellers will be able to go. Those. And he kind of checks over his shoulder. It says, "The gift from the captain will get you as far south as this side of the cleft. Cleft? Sorry, this side of Ladua's Furrow, which is where the west cleft and the east cleft are. Any further than that, and you ain't going. You shouldn't need to."
This far south, sorry.
Yes.
So we can't go any further south than this.
So just for the sake of it, just so you know, looking at the map, enforced to print map, you can basically. This is what he's referring to as the Dark Lake, this gated off area.
Yeah.
And this is Ladgua's Furrow, as he explains. This is basically your cutoff point. You can go as far south as that.
Ladgua's Burrow?
He does say, however, carefully if you do go to the Furrow, the West Cleft and East Cleft districts are both Darrow neighbourhoods. Nothing good can come from going there unless, well, you'll need to for at least. And again, he looks over his shoulder and just kind of shuts up mid-sentence, kind of realising what he's saying.
Okay. Well,
So
I am very
just while
much.
we've got the map up here.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, there is
like
actually
this-
a... Yeah.
I assume this is west and east cleft.
No, this is West Cleft. This is East Cleft.
Oh right.
They're actually gated off sections within the chasm itself.
Thank you, whoever's writing on for me. And we can't get any further south than the Burrow, even with those badges.
That's correct. That's what you've been told.
Well, I am very much in favour of going to sleep for 2 days straight.
Well, for now, if that's everything, all the questions you had for the Dwagar, we'll say you guys leave the hold, and as you step out, that is where we'll end tonight's session.
All right.
So, hope you all enjoyed.
I did.
I
Very
did.
much so.
Good. And again, so no experience for today's session because there wasn't really
Come on.
a experience not worthy, but there wasn't an experience encounter. That said, everybody for the role play gets 1 inspiration die. Mike, for the fact that I took control away from your character and your ability to roll dice twice, you get 2 inspiration dice.
I'll use them both on XP because screw you, Beanie.
That's fine.
That's what I'm using mine for.
Yeah. Actually, I super enjoyed tonight's roleplay, so I'm actually going to give you all 1 extra on top of it as well. Like,
oh boy,
I really did enjoy the role, like listening to you guys roleplaying tonight. So,
yeah.
All right, 45 experience for me.
Yeah, higher than average.
I'll take it. Lisa didn't roll 3d20,
right.
and it was like, and.
Okay, so thank you all for watching. It's been a good stream today, a lot longer than normal. And I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to be doing over the weekend, but the next stream will be on Monday. As for what I'm actually doing on Monday, I'm not entirely sure. So I guess we'll figure out the time, because Mass Effect 2, I've actually lost one of my discs, so I can't install that. And Call of Duty World at War, the disc is broken for that, so I can't stream that either. So I'll have to figure something out over the weekend and figure it out at the time. So thank you for watching, and good night.